around town is better than their regular secondary, this replacement one. The Jets, on the other hand, their defense is not up to par. It's a lousy secondary. They have 3 defensive players back in the defensive line that might help. But Pat Ryan is going to have a very difficult time because the Jet offensive line is not good.
And there is Pat Ragusa, first-year player out of St. John's, getting set to kick off for the Jets. The Dolphins winning the toss for the first time this season. This kickoff sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. They were 0 for their previous 8 in coin flips. Pete Roth, Ronald Scott are back. Good kick by Ragusa, and Ronald Scott, first-year player out of Franklin and Marshall, who comes off a 3-touchdown performance last week against Kansas City, stays in the end zone. There's Ragusa, originally signed as a free agent back in June, released. He'd been with the Connecticut Giants prior to his return to the Jets. The Dolphins, 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Kyle Mackey, a 3-year man from East Texas State, played some with the St. Louis Cardinals. He is in at quarterback, and Ronald Scott and Ricky Isom are the running backs. So we get underway here at Giant Stadium. Both clubs with records of 2-2. And Scott is stopped by the nose tackle, Scott Morsereau, one of several Jets who are given a good shot at making this club when things get back to normalcy, if that is possible. As we look at the Dolphin offensive line, Whisker Gilmore at the guards, Greg Owers the center, Scott Kehoe, rookie from Illinois, and Bill Beals are at the tackles. A 2nd down and 8. A very sparse crowd on hand here at Giant Stadium. 40,000 tickets, we're told, are out, as Mackey is hit down inside the 25 by Marty Lyons. No telling how many people will eventually show up. Capacity here is close to 77,000. Well, the 3 veterans in that Jet defensive line as they open with a 4-3 against the strong running game of the Dolphins.
That's what they need to do, stop the Dolphins' running game. So they've gone with the best football players up front, and they're playing an over and under 4-man defensive front. Plus, they want to put pressure on the passing game because the Jets have to play zone defense in the secondary.
And as you see, the lineups are revealed on both ends. Not a host of household names out there. Pass intended for John Taliaferri, a first-year player from Cornell. Ken Rose, a name that Jet fans may be hearing in the ensuing weeks because he is one of 3 Jets who probably will make the roster. Rose, a outside linebacker out of Nevada, Las Vegas.
Taliaferri, number 35, is considered a fine receiver for the Dolphins. I'm somewhat surprised that he dropped that pass.
And this is Stacy Gore, rookie from Arkansas State, punting from his 10, the Super Nat. New addition to the Jet roster, 5'4" Reggie Smith. Back deep, penalty flag is down off that short punt. And we await the word of the referee, Dick Jorgensen. That is a 22-yard punt by Stacy Gore.
You know, the wind condition is going to be a factor today. Gore is punting into the wind, and it did kind of blow the ball out of bounds. So going in the westerly direction, you have the wind at your back, but otherwise it will be a factor today.
Illegal use of the hands, number 37, receiving team, while the ball was in the air. First down.
Defensive back JoJo Heath called for the illegal use of the hands. And so the Jets go to the offense for the first time. They start out from their 43. The veteran Pat Ryan, who did return to camp a couple of days ago, playing with an injured shoulder. He has Eddie Hunter and Dennis Blygen as his running backs. Michael Harper banged up. In fact, that is the reason he will not be running back punts and kicks. And this is Hunter. And he took a hit and a flag thrown. Eddie Hunter, a rookie from Virginia Tech, who was working construction in Washington, D.C. after he was cut by the Jets during preseason, and they called him back following the strike. A holding call, as you see, against the Jets.
Holding Offense, 10 yards, still first down.
All right, up front, John Thomas, Tom Humphrey, Ted Banker, Eric Koss, and Ken Jones. There was some thought that Joe Fields, who had walked across the picket line, would be ready today, but he's bothered by a pulled hamstring. So Banker, who has made it back from a shoulder operation, starting at center. Jones, the one-time Buffalo Bill, and the feeling is that he could stick with the Jets.
Yes, he's been doing a good job. They're very high on him. He has good technique, and whether he sticks or not, that remains to be seen, of course.
All right, 1st and 20 from the 33-yard line off that 10-yard penalty. And it's the second back, Eddie Hunter. Has good pickup out to midfield. 17 yards for Hunter. Trell Hooper, the right corner, and Liffort Hobley, the free safety, on the stop.
Pretty good blocking by Banker right there. That's why they have him back in the center position. Boy, these two good running game plays by the Jets the first two snaps is a good indication that the Jets may be able to move the ball on the ground.
Among the many Jet problems on this replacement team, though, has been the play of the offensive line, and some of the coaches have pointed out that they are not that familiar with technique. It's a 2nd down and 3, and here's Hunter with the first down. Duke Shamil, outside linebacker of the Dolphins, made the stop. And we talk about technique as you look at the Dolphins defensively. We're talking about very simple matters, such as a guard being able to pull.
Right. The Jets, Joe Walton told us yesterday, have some injuries in their offensive line, so he didn't think they'd be able to get outside. Now, he may have been pulling our leg, Marv, because the two big gainers were both around right end and left end.
Pulling our leg concerning pulling guards. Very nice, Joe. It's a 1st and 10 at the 45. And it's Hunter with acceleration. With a 2-yard pickup, it'll set a 2nd and 8. The right defensive end, Charles Bennett. Nose tackle, Mike Lambrick, combining on the stop. 3 minutes gone by in this first quarter.
Ted Banker's doing a fine job on the nose tackle Lambrick, and that's what you have to do. You have to have a center that can handle the nose tackle one-on-one. If you have a nose tackle that occupies 2 offensive blockers, you will not have a running game up the middle at all. That's Lambrick, number 69.
And he is one of about 5 or 6 Dolphins given a shot to make the club when the regulars return. Tim Pigeon, inside linebacker, coming up with the ball. So Pigeon with the intercept. A rookie out of Syracuse, a 9th-round draft pick of Miami, released on the final cut. And he ran it back 17 yards.
Pat Ryan threw a strike right in there to Scott Hallman. He just let the ball go through his hand. It enabled Pigeon to pick off the interception. The Jets look pretty good offensively. It's these penalties and this, of course, ball that pops up in the air. It's in Hallman's hands. Boom. A good hit. A very good hit there by Robert Sowell.
And a timeout is called. We'll be right back.
Bob, I need a trainer. How about Eddie? He's just a kid. So was I.
You worked long and hard to get there. When the time comes, you hope you're ready.
It's just 1 weekend a month and at least 2 weeks a year, and that isn't a lot of
statistics in this bizarre NFL season, but the Dolphins do lead the league in giveaway takeaways with a +9. That is a combination of the regulars at the start of the year and the replacement players. The interception by Pigeon set up by the good hit by Sowell, and quarterback Kyle Mackey looking at a first down from midfield. Off the play action, the tight end David Lewis run out by the combination of Jay Brophy and George Radikowski, a 13-yard pickup. David Lewis, a first-round draft pick of Detroit back in 1984.
I love a play-action pass on first down. It freezes the linebackers just enough to enable the receiver to get outside. You see Brophy couldn't quite get over there to cover Lewis because he was playing the run first.
They have ruled that the hard hit by Sowell on Holman led to a fumble and a recovery by Pigeon. Ronald Scott stopped by Jim Haslett, the inside linebacker. And the ball is spotted just inside the 35-yard line.
Haslett has gotten somewhat of a reprieve with this strike. He played up at Buffalo for, I guess 8 years, and he had a broken leg 2 seasons ago. When they brought him back this year, he just wasn't up to par, and they released him. But Haslett is a fine linebacker.
Miami 2nd down and 9. And again, Mackey completes. And again, it's Taliaferri, stopped by backup defensive back Larry Robinson.
Here you see Mark Gastineau on the bottom of your screen, number 99, going against Bills, 65. And Bills does a good job of keeping Mark out of the backfield. His knee has been bothering him for the entire season, but Mark told me yesterday his knee feels better than it has in the past, and he's playing this game without his knee brace.
It's a 3rd down and 4 from the 29. 4.5 minutes gone by. First quarter, no score. Taliaferri. And he has a Dolphin first down. Radikowski, the free safety, up to make the stop. John Taliaferri has been used more as a receiver, a local product out of Orange, New Jersey. Played some football in Parma, Italy last year.
Little draw play, they rush from the outside, number 78, and you see there's a lot of running room for Taliaferri to pick up the first down. You know, in just 8 games over there in Parma, he gained over 1,200 yards and scored 17 touchdowns.
The kind of league that you'd like to play for right now. And the nose tackle, Scott Mercereau, all over Ronald Scott. Last week against Kansas City, Scott with 3 rushing touchdowns to tie a team record. The last Dolphin to do it, Larry Zonka, back in 1979. That's a team record that will have a qualifying statement under different circumstances accomplished by Zonka. Scott says he'd never compare himself to Zonka. Says he had a freak game. And I think most people would agree. 2nd down and 12. Off the fumble, it is covered up by Scott, who did run for 94 yards against the Chiefs a week ago.
Scott's a big back and a fast back. He was in the Miami training camp earlier this year and was one of their late cuts. But the Dolphins really like him, and they may keep him around after the strike. The fumble appeared to be simply a slip. The ball just slipped out of Kyle Mackey's hands that time. It wasn't on the handoff.
It's a 3rd and 15 at the 28. And Mackey out of the shotgun, flag tossed. It is completed. Play was not whistled dead. Sean Dykes finally getting to Damian Riley, who went down but was not tackled. But a penalty flag is tossed. And 20-year veteran referee Dick Jorgensen with the call.
Illegal use of the hands, a jam to the face. Number 65, offense. Still 3rd down.
On the right tackle, Bill Beals, first-year man from northern Iowa. Very Unshula-like statistic concerning Dolphin replacements in terms of penalties. They have committed 16 the last 2 games.
This could be a very big penalty. Not only did it stop the Dolphins from getting a first down, but if they don't pick up some pretty good yardage here, they're going to be out of field goal range.
Now Leland Douglas is flanked wide to the left for this 3rd and long. And Mackey going deep. Mike Cattlebone on a 30-yard pass play, stopped by the strong safety Trent Collins and cornerback Sean Dykes. And it will be a 1st and goal for Miami.
Well, first things first here, and there's good pass protection by the offensive line. Mackley smartly moves to his right, but this is the Jet secondary we talked about at the top of the show. There's a major hole in that zone defense back there. When a ball travels that far, stays in the air that long, you should have someone closing on the ball, and the Jets secondary is just not up to par.
So the 1st and goal from the 8. And it's back to the ground for Scott. A short pickup, Jay Brophy, the inside linebacker, on the stop. Regular Jets and Dolphins in a strange predicament. They're not big fans of the replacement players, but now that they know they'll be back next week, they're certainly rooting for their stand-ins, because today's game is of great significance concerning the battle for the playoffs. Both Miami and the Jets are at 2-2. Patriots, Indianapolis also have each won 2 and lost 2. Mackey with the time. The completion to the tight end, David Lewis. Down at the 3, Brophy on the stop.
The key to the play again is the time that Mackey gets. He calmly stays in there. You see 87, David Lewis, running a little reverse pivot, making the catch over the middle. Now, Lewis is no rookie. You know, he played 84, 85, and 86 with the Detroit Lions, and he was a good find. In fact, Don Shula told me that he and Sampleton both could very well be on the regular roster of the Dolphins once this strike is finally settled.
That is Lawrence Sampleton, the starting tight end. The ball is placed just outside the 2. Here's Mackey off the roll. Incomplete. Scott Mercer, the good-looking nose tackle, getting the wraps around Mackey, and now we will have a field goal attempt as a rookie from Utah State, Willie Beecher, checks in. Beecher 2 for 3 over the first 2 games that he has played. He missed from 49 yards out. He was in the Miami camp during preseason as a free agent, then was released. A 19-yard attempt. Backup quarterback Scott Stenkiewicz holding. And it's good. So the Dolphins with a 3-0 lead on the Jets. Right in his very nice pink shirt is Jet tight end Rocky Cleaver, and in the yellow is Jet linebacker Bob Crable. That, of course, is Joe Willie Namath. But actually, Bob and Rocky were looking to use legal means today to try and play. This in relation to the deadline that was set by the owners, that players could not come in past 1 o'clock on Wednesday. And you fellows wanted to force the issue and did report to the dressing room. What happened?
Right. What we simply did was show up on time with our gear. We brought it in our car and said, we're pretty much ready to play. And what happened was they told us we couldn't play. So we didn't push the issue that bad. We were all nice about it and said we weren't going to step on anybody's toes. And they said, well, thanks. See you later.
All right. Bob, is the legal suit being dropped?
Well, there never was a legal suit to begin with, Marv. It was simply what we were doing here. I'm watching the game here, too. What we did was we had our attorneys outside the union actually look into the possibilities of legal action as far as the owners restraining us from playing. So there never was really a suit filed.
And on the kickoff, the fumble by the Jets recovered by the Miami Dolphins.
Bob, you guys, I know you have to be pulling for a victory. This is an important game in the standings. I know we have mixed emotions about the guys on the field and your feelings, but you do need the victory, right?
Well, you have to, obviously you have to root for them to win, Joe, like you said. It counts in the standings, and we're all looking to get to the playoffs. So,
Ooh, he looked down.
I thought he was down, Rocky. I think you're right. In fact, I think we're going to see a replay here. I think we will see a replay by the officials that will give the ball back to the Jets, because I think you were on the money that time, Rocky. His knee hit the ground.
They are checking instant replay.
I don't believe it. I'd like to look at that again, I tell you.
But Miami maintains possession, and they do have a first down from the Jet 26-yard line.
Well, you'll see his legs will hit the ground. He'll be down on the ground, and he has the ball. That's not a fumble.
And that was the rookie from Virginia Tech, Eddie Hunter. Meanwhile, Mackey able to complete to Leland Douglas, a rookie from Baylor. With the stipulation that the replacement players and the regular players will all be in the same locker room, at least for the week. Teams around the NFL will be allowed to have 85 players What are you expecting will take place in the locker room, Rocky Cleaver?
I have no idea. Some of the guys are still pretty upset about it. I just hope they don't try to share lockers with some of the guys that are upset. But I guess they're doing it to make sure we can't walk back out again, which is smart on their part. What we have to do is just hope things work out and not really worry about it, because we still have to play Washington next week.
All right, Ronald Scott stopped back behind the line. Marty Lyons on the stop. Bob Crable went with the fact that the Redskins have been so unified that in contrast to the Jets, where we saw several players cross the picket line, do you think the Redskins will be particularly tough against the Jets next week? They could be sky high.
Well, the Redskins are always tough. I don't care who they play. The fact that they stayed together could possibly help them. What it comes down to, Mark, is just getting out on the field and executing your game plan the way the coaches want you to. And if you can do that, you're going to play a good football game.
Wide receiver Eddie Chavis on the 17-yard pass play. Trent Collins making the stop. And the Dolphins have another 1st and goal.
Well, Chavis hits the hole back there in the secondary. Number 37, JoJo Heath, just couldn't quite get underneath the ball to break up the pass fast enough. And again, I'm impressed with the Miami offensive line's pass protection so far. The Jets haven't come close to getting to Mackey.
The officials report that on that fumble that was questioned before, they were not able to see as to whether the knee was down. Here is Mackey for the touchdown. Completing to the tight end, Willie Smith. First-year player from Miami of Florida, one of the most prolific receivers in the University of Miami history, and the Dolphins now lead it 9-0.
Well, again, we mentioned the secondary having some problems in their coverage. Willie Smith, the 3rd tight end of the Dolphins, is wide open. He could have caught a cold out there without anyone around him. But I really believe that last play, the kickoff return, was a fumble. I can't see how they could take the ball away from the Jets, and now we have a 10-0 lead, or going to be a 10-0 lead for the Dolphins, and I think because of a bad call.
All right, Willie Beecher puts it through. Willie Smith with his first NFL touchdown, and the Dolphins off to a 10-0 lead with 4:17 left in this first quarter.
Number 40, defense. The point is good. 5-yard penalty on the kickoff.
Well, the penalty against the Jets, so the touchdown will hold up.
Whatever happened to real food?
Stadium, along with Joe Namath, Marv Albert. Here's a look at that running play that was disputed earlier. Eddie Hunter of the Jets, and the ruling.
The ruling was a fumble. His right knee hit the ground. He hit the ground with the ball. That was not a fumble. Meantime, in the record books, it'll go down as a fumble, and the ensuing touchdown counts.
And the Dolphins taking advantage. They lead it by the score of 10-0. 5-yard touchdown pass from Mackey to Smith to cap it off. And Willie Beecher kicking off. Reggie Smith. Reggie Smith, one-time Atlanta Falcon, running it out to the 19-yard line. We're set for an update. Let's go to NFL Live.
That's right, Marv. Very nice. And here we check in on Doug Flutie, who's wearing Patriot togs these days. He throws for Larry Linney. The Texas El Paso product makes a stupendous diving catch in the end zone. But Houston comes back to tie it. It's 7-all in the first at the Astrodome. Marvelous.
All right, Bob. And quarterback Kyle Mackey is now 7 for 9, 83 yards, and a touchdown. The Jets first down from their 20-yard line. 4 minutes to go in this first quarter. Miami with a 10-0 lead. And Pat Ryan stumbling down for the loss. Demetrius Johnson, the strong safety, 5-year man from Missouri, making the stop.
Well, Pat Ryan did the right thing there. If a quarterback's not sure of making the handoff, don't take a chance on the fumble. Don't try to overextend yourself with a long reach to get the handoff. Pat, being the veteran that he is, held on to the ball, and he took the loss. Better than a fumble.
Further clarification from the folks watching the instant replay. They say that when they saw the knee go down, they could not see the ball on their replay. 2nd down and 14. And Ryan able to complete, but a very short pickup. The tight end, Tony Sweet, rookie from Montclair State, on the reception. Chicago Bears continue to roll right along with that 10-0 lead. And look at Seattle all over Detroit, 21-0. And the Rams and the Eagles with early leads. It'll be a 3rd down and 8 from the 22. Ryan, the quarterback, Eddie Hunter, and Dennis Blygen are the running backs. Hopper, 84, in motion. Ryan looking for Hopper, then goes the middle. And a penalty marker is down. Scott Holman on the reception, but a flag thrown. Trell Hooper, Demetrius Johnson combining, making the stop.
Holding, number 63, offense, decline, 4th down.
That is Ted Banker called on the hold, and the Jets drop back into punt formation. Tom O'Connor, in his first season out of South Carolina. He had a shot on the Dolphins camp last year. And he'll punt to Mike Catterbone, among the AFC leaders in punt returns, back at his 32-yard line. And here's Catterbone out to the 44. So 43-yard punt and a 7-yard return. 2:43 to go in this first quarter.
I'd like to say happy birthday to my dad. His birthday was Friday. I didn't get a chance to call him. And Dad, Joe had a few stories about you I have to tell you when I get home. And it's nice to see Joe again, to meet him. He's been my idol since I was a little kid. And it was good to see him Friday.
And that Miami quarterback Kyle Mackey, the son of D. Mackey, a tight end who played with Joe Namath. Ronald Scott right near the first down marker.
Brought down by Marty Lyons.
Here's Scott coming up the middle with good blocking right in there. Kind of a delay or lag draw is what we call it in the professional ranks, and there was a fine hole for him.
Now, you say you had some good stories about Kyle's dad.
Oh, he was one of my favorite. He was our tight end when I was a rookie.
Also played for the Colts and the 49ers. This is Ricky Isom, and he has a first down. Ricky Isom, first-year player from North Carolina State, and stopped by Mark Gastineau.
Ricky Isom's going to be a trivia question someday. He was the first player to score a touchdown in Joe Robbie Stadium, and not only that, he did it on his first NFL carry.
Did it last week against the Chiefs as Miami beat Kansas City 42-0. Dolphins' first shutout since back in December of 1985. First down at the 43-yard line. Miami 10 and the Jets nothing. Minute and a half left in this first quarter. And Mackey goes sideline. A flag has been thrown. Sean Dykes on the coverage of the wide receiver, Leland Douglas.
Well, Barry Bennett for the Jets put some pressure on Mackey that time. It's the first time someone was able to get back there, but Mackey wisely threw the ball early.
Holding, number 63, offense, still first down.
63, the center, Greg Hours, former USFL player. As mentioned earlier, and as I'm sure you're aware from all you've read the last couple of days, next week all NFL teams will have a mixed group of union and non-union players. So they will have an 85-man roster, and then by 4 p.m. next Saturday, coaches must announce a 45-man active squad and a 40-man inactive squad. This is Scott, and he's stopped behind the line by Barry Bennett. They are talking about the possibility of eventually expanding the roster to 49 players, and they may also add a taxi squad eventually of 10 or 15 players.
See Barry Bennett, number 78, fighting off two blockers and making a fine tackle. Barry Bennett, of course, is one of the regular starters for the Jets, and he may be a little rusty right now, but he certainly doesn't look it.
21 at the 46.
It is a 2nd down and 21 back at the 46. Pass intended for Mike Catterbaugh, covered by Mark Hogan. Set for another update. Let's go to Bob Costas in New York.
All right, Marv, let's check the men against the boys file. Nobody can cover Steve Largent in the regular NFL. Why do you think these guys can? He's caught 6 passes for 116 yards, 3 of them for touchdowns from Jeff Kemp in the first quarter at the Silverdome. It's 21-0 Seahawks.
All right, Bob, 10-0 Miami. They leave the Jets as they try to make it a record of 3-2. The Jet replacement players are 0-2 going into today after the regulars jumped in front with a 2-0 record at the start of the season. Ronald Scott stopped by Larry Robinson out at midfield, and so the Dolphins will be forced to punt.
I think that's good offensive philosophy, running the football. Now, Larry Robinson put one of the best hits you'll see on a football field. See, Scott gets a big hole. That's because the Jets are playing pass defense right now, but whoo, Scott did put a hit on him, along with Ken Rose, number 92. With a 10-0 lead right now, I'm sure Miami didn't want to take any chances and put the ball in the air. They can back the Jets up here now with a good punt.
And Stacy Gore will punt, but the punt will take place when we get underway in the second quarter, the first quarter coming to a conclusion. Welcome back to Giant Stadium in the New Jersey Meadowlands. Marv Albert, Joe Namath, on this final weekend of replacement, or as it has been affectionately labeled by some, a scab football. A 10-0 Miami lead over the Jets, and look at the time of possession by the Dolphins in the first quarter.
That'll wear a defense out. If this continues to go that way, I just asked Bob how he'd feel about it. He said, hey, if they kept the ball that long in the third and fourth quarter, the defense would be very tired.
That is Bob Crable, Jet linebacker, who, along with Rocky Cleaver, is spending some time with us here in the broadcast booth. Reggie Smith coming up. Fumbles. It carries out of bounds. And the Jets maintain possession. Now, teams next week will be allowed to carry that 85-man roster until cutdown day next Saturday. So the regulars and replacements will be side by side in that Jet locker room. Rocky, do you see chaos and taunting, flare-up or two? I don't see it as a very calm scene.
I'm sure it won't be calm, but I don't see too much aggression going on in the locker room. On the practice field might be a little different story. There might be a few more hits than usual on a Monday practice or a Wednesday practice, but I don't see guys getting in any fights or any conflicts right in the locker room.
You're kidding.
Well, that's, of course, someone wants to share my locker with me or something like that.
First down from the 31-yard line. It is just shy of the first down. Scott Holman on the reception. A final question for linebacker Bob Crable. Initially, there was unhappiness that Mark Gastineau crossed the picket line, and now several other veterans have come in. Have your feelings changed about Gastineau?
Well, my feelings all along, Marv, have been, you know, a person has to do what he thinks is right for him and his family and the team if need be. But Mark's got his own situation to worry about, and that's the way I felt about the whole time.
It's a 2nd and 1 from the 40, and we thank Bob Crable and Rocky Cleaver of the Jets for joining us here in the booth. As Ryan goes sideline and completes for the first down to Michael Harper. And his forward progress will be marked out of the 46. Robert Sowell, the left corner, and Dennis Folks, the linebacker, combining on the tackle.
Sowell does a pretty good job here. You don't want to get beaten deep in this situation. You don't mind giving up a couple of yards. A little out pattern you can afford to give away. But I want to stress what gave the Jets the good field position here was the fine catch by Reggie Smith, the super nat that caught that punt. He made a really fine catch on the run and gave the Jets this good field position.
Ryan is 4 out of 5. He has completed his last 4. He has been intercepted once. First down from the 46. Dennis Blygen. Stopped by Victor Morris. Morris, a inside linebacker, a rookie from Miami of Florida. As we check out the scores, New England in front of Houston. Chicago maintaining that 10-0 lead. Seattle big over Detroit, 21-0.
Well, Jeff Kemp is a good quarterback, and that shows you what a quality quarterback could do in one of these games. And you'd expect Pat Ryan to do well, and I think he would, too, given the pass protection by his offensive line.
And in that New England-Houston game, Doug Flutie with a 27-yard touchdown pass play for the Patriots. Ryan going sideline, nice touch pass. Stan Hunter, number 86, first-year man from Bowling Green, doing it against the quarterback Trell Hooper.
This isn't an easy pass to throw it deep out to your left over here. And Pat Ryan puts the ball right out there on the numbers. An excellent throw. Now, I want to tell you, Pat Ryan didn't throw the football once yesterday. He has a bad shoulder. He has a spur in his shoulder that irritates his rotor cuff. And prior to this week, he couldn't throw the ball for the last 7 or 8 days. So I'm surprised that he's throwing the ball so well right now.
Nice looking throw for 11 yards and a first down at the Miami 41. Ryan getting the time, and it's dropped by Michael Harper. Should have had it. The Jets feel, even with the sore shoulder, that they prefer having the savvy, the experience of Ryan in there. David Norrie, quarterback last week, and had some difficulties. Tom Flick is the other quarterback on this replacement squad.
Well, Ryan is smart. He can adjust to what the defense gives him much faster than what the other quarterbacks can. He can read a blitz, for example, and know when to dump the ball. He can go to the area of the field that has the fewest number of defensive players.
2nd and 10, Blygen going outside. Blygen to the 36, went for 5, so it will be 3rd down and 5. Dennis Blygen, originally signed as a free agent back in 1984, the first St. John's player ever to play in the NFL. Released by the Jets September. Had a short stint with Tampa Bay and now back with the Jets.
Now here's an area of the field and a time that I would consider running 2 plays to try to get the first down. I think they're a little bit out of field goal range, but if they try to run the football, get 3 or 4 yards, 2 yards, they're going to have a 4th and 1 or 2, and I think they'd go for it at that point.
And again, Ryan got the time. Touchdown, Michael Harper. It's a 35-yard pass play.
Well, that's much better than going for the 2 or 3 yards of the first down. Go for the bomb.
So Michael Harper, who just a moment ago dropped one in the flat, is able to pick it off for a 35-yard touchdown.
Yeah, they'll not remember the one that he dropped after he made this catch. That offensive line of the Jets is still giving Pat Ryan good pass protection. If they can continue to do that, we're going to see some points by the Jets.
Pat Ragusa puts it through, so the Jets now trail the Dolphins by the score of 10-7. Brought to you by the Kellogg Company, makers of Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Tony's Flakes of Corn with a sweet frosting. By Head & Shoulders Shampoo. Now your good grooming is head and shoulders above the rest. And by GTE. GTE. Marv Albert, Joe Namath from Giants Stadium as Pat Ragusa gets set to kick off. 35-yard pass play. Ryan to Harper. 7 plays, 69 yards, and the Jets on the board now trailing 10-7. Remember, the Jets were shut out last week by the Indianapolis Colts.
Well, now we may see the new kickoff rule go in effect where Miami will take the ball on their own 35-yard line rather than have the Jets re-kick it because he kicked the ball out of bounds. This is a new 1987 rule, and it's a good one for the offense.
And the ball is spotted at the 35. So Kyle Mackey, and at quarterback in his 3rd year from East Texas State, 11th round pick of St. Louis back in 1984. Says Joe Namath was his idol when he was a 4-year-old, following his dad Dee around at the Jet camp. How does a 4-year-old have an iPad?
Well,
that's what he told you yesterday.
I think his mother, Barbara, told him about me first. And hello, Barbara, by the way. I hope you're doing well.
Ricky Isom on the reception.
Ricky Isom.
So Mackey completing to Isom, run out by Ken Rose. And it is first down for Miami.
Miami looks good. They have good running backs, good offensive line so far. Of course, we saw that they controlled the ball 11 minutes in that first quarter, over 11 minutes. And this Kyle Mackey doesn't throw the ball in the wrong place.
Has not been intercepted, and this is third game at quarterback. Took a pretty good pop as he goes incomplete. The pass intended for Mike Catterbone.
We see, that's another thing I like about him. He'll get rid of that ball. He won't take a loss. Now, Miami Dolphin offensive line, well, they're coached by John Sandusky, and they've led the NFL in fewest number of sacks now for the last 6 years, which says something about Coach Sandusky's coaching.
How quickly can he do his thing, though, with the replacement players?
Well, Kyle hasn't been sacked yet. He must be doing a pretty good job with him.
2nd and 10 from the 46. Miami 10, the Jets 7. 3 minutes gone by, second quarter. Mackey did get the time, broke it up. Intended for Taliaferri. Sean Dykes, who appears to be the best of the Jet replacement defensive backs, able to break it up. New England with that 14-7 lead. Doug Flutie throwing for 1 touchdown. Chicago in front. Here's Seattle with a 21-7 edge on Detroit. And the Rams and the Eagles in front. Jeff Kemp has thrown 3 touchdown passes for the Seahawks of Seattle. It's a 3rd down 10. Nice catch for the first down. Again, Dykes on the coverage as John Taliaferri, first-year player from Cornell, makes the diving reception.
Number 35 just turns out to the sideline to make the diving catch. Of course, he dropped the first pass of the game, but we knew he had good hands, and there's a good indication of it. Really fine catch. I'm not too sure he made the first down, though, Marv. It's going to be close.
All right, they are bringing out the yardsticks. The Dolphins did pick it up. One of those rare occasions where my eyes did not betray me here.
You know, this is another sign of the smartness and intelligence of Taliaferri. Getting enough yardage to make the first down. A lot of times you see rookies and younger receivers, if it's 3rd and 8, they'll turn up at 7 yards, make the catch, but they'll be a yard short of the first down. He made sure he got his first down that time.
So the first down from the Jet 44-yard line. Taliaferri now lines up as a flanker to the right side. Little mix-up. Bennett cut off, and Mackey off the scramble rips it, and it is broken up. Threw a bullet off the run. George Radikowski breaking it up.
Broken up by George Radikowski.
Here you see Taliaferri. They use him as an outside receiver. He wants the ball. He's open, he thinks. We see the defensive back come in, almost make the interception. Number 74, Wiska, the guard for the Miami Dolphins, did a good job of affording Mackey the time to get rid of that ball.
Jeff Wiska, the left guard, a 7th-round draft pick of the Giants back in 1982. 2nd and 10 from the 44. And Mackey launches one. Intended for Catterbone. Covered by the left corner, Mark Hogan.
Mark Hogan is in excellent position. You see him running down the field with him here. There may be a little bit bumping right here. There's some bumping, and nothing is called. I guess they're both going for the ball.
And it will be a 3rd and 10 from the 44. Mackey, as you see, 9 for 16, but he's connected only 2 of his last 7. And it is broken up. Hogan stripping Damian Riley, who cut across the middle.
Good coverage by Hogan. You know, the momentum may be shifting a little bit here. Miami seemed to have it all in the first quarter, but with this defensive stand by the Jets, they could get something going offensively here. I think they're going to have momentum on their side.
And this is Stacy Gore, man who had signed with Memphis of the USFL just before the league folded. And he'll punt to Super Nat Reggie Smith, 31-year-old, one-time Atlanta Falcon who played some USFL and, yes, arena football. And the ball will be spotted at the 13-yard line. It's a 34-yard punt by Gore. 10:44 left in the second quarter. And the Dolphins lead at 10-7.
You know, the weirdest things happen.
Jet coaches yesterday, Joe, they made the point that some of the veteran players who are in camp still don't have the ability to accept this game as a real football game. They can't relate to it. How would you have been affected by this psychologically? Would you have been able to handle this type of situation?
Well, you know, I kind of related to, I would have been able to handle it, yes, but I kind of related to when you're a heavy favorite playing against a team that you're supposed to blow off the field. You're going into it with not as much enthusiasm, a little lackadaisical, and, you know, you just don't have as much respect for the other team as you normally would have.
Eddie Hunter, the ball carrier, because some ask the question, with many of the Jet regulars defensively, you have up front guys like Gastineau and Lyons and Bennett in there, people who have returned, so don't they have a distinct advantage against lesser players? But coaches will say not necessarily, because they're not able to lift themselves for this type of game. Also could be a cop-out. Dennis Blygen with a flag toss. Dennis Folks, the outside linebacker, on the stop. Of course, we can get into this very deep psychologically. There are people who will just play at a certain level because they don't want to be accused of
holding number 63, offense, half the distance to the goal line.
Ted
Still
Banker,
second down.
once again, second time he has been hit. In effect, certain players may not look like they really care, and then they can't be accused of not being able to perform well against lesser people.
63 in the middle of your screen with his back to us is the one that's called for holding, Ted Banker. You know, I think the biggest problem these players have isn't the lack of enthusiasm when they come back to play against the replacement squad. It's the lack of work over the past 3 or 4 weeks. They haven't practiced together enough as a team. They're not as quick as they should be with their reaction time, so they're not going to play as well as they normally play during the regular season.
Off the 2nd and 14 from the 9. Ryan able to combine with Stan Hunter, first-year player from Bowling Green, that originally signed as a free agent last January.
3rd and 8.
Played in the preseason opener against the Eagles, then was dropped.
The Jets have been hurting themselves offensively from the beginning. Here they are in a 3rd and 8 position again because of a holding penalty. Earlier it was because of the fumble that Miami got the ball, and another fumble allowed Miami to score.
And Ryan able to elude several Dolphins and completes to Michael Hopper, and that is the play of the ball game. A 13-yard pass play.
Well, Ryan's going to get pressure from his backside and the left side of the screen.
14 yards on the play.
Shalen gets in there, and Pat's able to get out of there and find an open receiver. I tell you, Shamel is a good linebacker, and he put the pressure on that time, but Harper just keeps going to an open spot. You see him raise his hand. Come on, get it to me.
Nice spin move by Pat Ryan. Hunter out to the 34-yard line.
Eddie Hunter, the ball carrier.
So it will be a 2nd down and 5.
Brought down by Mike
Lambrecht, the nose tackle, Sowell, the left corner, combining on the stop.
5-yard gain. 2nd and 5 at the 34.
Well, Mackey 9 for 17 and Ryan 8 for 10, and Ryan has really come on.
And going against the secondary that we touted at the beginning of the show is being very good.
Yes, those in Miami who have been a bit cynical about the regular Dolphins secondary say that this one compares favorably. Almost picked off. Pass intended for Scott Holman, and Trell Hooper had a shot. Hooper injured his shoulder earlier this afternoon. He's an 8th round pick out of Indianapolis.
This ball was nearly picked off because it was thrown late. They had the ball on the right hash mark, and to throw it all the way across the field, it's going to take time. It's going to take good timing on Pat Ryan's part. That time he got rid of the ball just a little bit late, and that's why Trell Hooper almost intercepted the ball.
It's a 3rd down and 5. At the 34, the Dolphins 10, the Jets 7. Now Blygen, the lone deep back. Stan Hunter on the completion for the 1st down. Trell Hooper made the stop.
Well, I'm going to take my hat off to this offensive line of the Jets. Miami came with a blitz, an all-out blitz that time. Had Hooper one-on-one out there, and with the blitz, they couldn't get to Pat Ryan. You give Pat Ryan some time, and he's going to pick you apart.
That big score, Seattle in front of Detroit, that you just saw, highlighted by Jeff Kemp, who has now thrown for 4 touchdown passes. Eddie Hunter stopped by the right defensive end, Charles Bennett. Pickup of 2.
Charles Bennett may have made the tackle that time, but the fellow that really made the play was number 91, Victor Morris. He drove the blocker back into the backfield and forced the offensive runner to go to his left. So Victor Morris should get credit for that play.
Some of Victor Morris's idols, he told us yesterday, are Ahmad Rashad of NBC and the Pink Panther. Now, the Pink Panther says he's upset that he's being grouped with Ahmad. 2nd down and 8. Here's Hunter.
Eddie Hunter, the ball carrier.
2-yard advance. It'll be a 3rd and 6. Charles Bennett made the tackle.
Here you see the linebacker, Victor Morris. Good pursuit. He has good size, good pursuit. The Dolphins like him. I was talking with him at practice last week, and he said, "Hey, Joe, how about telling my mother hello for me, Estelle?" I said, "Look, I can't do that on television, man." He said, "Hey, Joe, I'm asking you to tell my mother hello." Well, I never have been able to say no to a linebacker, so we did say hi, Mom, and to all you other moms out there, too. Your boys are having a good time out on the field.
What a guy, Joe. So accommodating. It's a 3rd down and 6. Blygen. So Blygen has the 1st down. Demetrius Johnson on the stop, and it's a 9-yard pass play.
Beautifully designed play. They fooled the Dolphins into thinking it was a pass, and here we have a screen play, actually. Harry Kost gets out in front, throws the block, and we have a good gainer there for Dennis Blygen. It was a good offensive play.
And you can see the difference that a veteran such as Pat Ryan is able to make in this Jet offensive scheme. Suddenly, the blocking is picked up.
They couldn't get out of their own way last week against the Colts. Today, they're moving the ball nicely.
1st down from the 40, flag thrown.
Penalty marker on the play.
False start, number 69, offense. 5 yards, still 1st down.
That's the left guard, Tom Humphrey, a rookie from Iowa. Tom Humphrey had been working as a nightclub bouncer out on Long Island. And in the starting lineup of the replacement Jets here today, he was supposed to be a backup, but Ted Banker moved to center because Joe Fields still bothered by the pulled hamstring.
A Banker playing in the center position may just be the key to the success of this offensive line so far. The center has to call the blocking assignments of the rest of the offensive line, and this is what may be the major factor in their improvement.
1st and 15. Play action. Ryan overthrows Blygen.
Dennis Blygen.
Reminder to our viewers, we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of the game. Don Shula gunning for his 250th regular season career win. I don't think he figured he'd be seeking number 250 under these circumstances. 2nd and 15 at the Miami 45. Again, Blygen, the lone deep back. And Ryan finds him. Dennis Folks, though, moving up his outside linebacker position to stop Blygen, who has become a favorite receiver now of Pat Ryan.
Miami's defense did a good job. In that situation, when you have 15 yards to go, you want to make sure they don't get the deep pass. Go ahead and allow them to catch the underneath pass if you must, but don't let him get a lot of yardage. And Dennis Folks did just that. He laid off the receiver long enough to make sure he could make the tackle well short of the first down.
It's a 3rd down and 7. Miami with a 5-man front. Sideline. Scott Holman on a beautiful timing pattern. Stopped by Liffort Hobley, and the Jets with a 1st and goal.
On the left side of your screen, Holman will run a little swing pattern at the top of your screen. Simply outruns the defender, and Pat Ryan throws a strike, just a perfectly thrown pass. Momentum has shifted to the Jets side.
And this the 3rd catch of the day by Holman, a one-time St. Louis Cardinal, made the club as a free agent, was released. The Jets signed him, played 2 preseason games with the Jets. 1st and goal from the 7. Hopper in motion. Play action. Hunter for the score.
Little play action fake just to freeze the linebackers for an instant. Harper gets outside, and Victor Morris just overruns him.
So Joe Walton and his Jets now take a 13-10 lead on Miami. The extra point by Ragusa. With 2 minutes, 26 seconds left in this first half, the Jets are now in front.
I'm 80 years old.
On to the football for 8 minutes, 18 seconds. 13 plays, 87 yards, capped off when Pat Ryan connected with the running back Eddie Hunter. Ryan has hit his last 3, 8 of his last 10, and is 13 for 17, 162 yards. Here's Pat Ragusa with the bouncing kick, and it's taken by one of the up men.
Ricky Isom on the return.
Isom on the return, stopped by Mike Whittick, who's been outstanding on special teams. Coming up at halftime, Bob, Ahmad, Paul, and Frank. NFL Live. All the scores and highlights from around the NFL. We have 2 minutes, 17 seconds left in this first half. The Jets have come from behind. They lead Miami by the score of 14-10. Last Sunday, Miami walloped Kansas City 42-0. Miami, the Jets, New England, Indianapolis, all at 2-2. Buffalo comes in at 1-3. First down from the 36. And Mackey able to complete to Douglas. First down for the Dolphins. Leland Douglas, a rookie from Baylor, going 14 yards on the play. Radikowski made the stop.
Number 99, Mark Gastineau at the top of your screen, almost gets to Mackey. This was a surprise, and here's another play. They caught everyone by surprise this time. But you don't see an offense come out in a shotgun formation on first down very often, and they caught the Jets off guard on that first down.
They tried the hurry up, but the 2-minute warning was provided, so it's no. You'll have a more detailed look at what is taking place around the league as you check out the scores. Jeff Kemp has thrown 4 touchdowns in the first half for Seattle. That's the big story today. Rams now lead at 14-0 in the second. And here are the Jets over Miami, 14-10 on 2 touchdown passes thrown by Pat Ryan, who just reported to camp several days ago, just making it before the deadline, the 1 o'clock Wednesday deadline. Mackey took a hit, and he's picked off by JoJo Heath. JoJo Heath stopped by the center, GregOwers. And Mackey was hurt. He was shaken up. A 36-yard return by the 3-year man from Pittsburgh.
Well, number 77, Scott Nichols, forced Mackey to throw the ball early, and JoJo Heath was in position for the interception that puts the Jets in excellent field position. Kyle Mackey is still down on the field. Here you see number 77 come right up the middle. Puts a pretty good lick on Kyle. Oh, boy. The life of a quarterback when you don't get pass protection can be a rough one.
With the timeout, we'll take a break.
I present
the Jets first down from the 20 as Ryan throws the bullet, and a flag has been tossed. Eric Riley, the tight end, was the intended receiver. They call against the Jets.
Gerald Nichols, number 77, gets Kyle Mack in an awkward position. Watch his head hit the ground. Boom. He hits his face right on the AstroTurf and just cut the inside of his mouth a bit. I have a good feeling he'll be back in the game.
And the call, offensive pass interference on the tight end, Eric Riley. As you look at Scott Stankiewicz, second-year player from North Carolina, warming up. He might come on for Kyle Mackey. Stankiewicz, originally signed as a free agent with Denver back in 1984, was released and re-signed. Did see some action in the NFL. 1st and 20. Blygen looking for the hole. Forces his way to the 28. The nose tackle, Mike Lambrecht, comes off a strong game against the Chiefs last week, making the stop on Blygen. Jets have taken over here in the second quarter. They go to the hurry-up offense with 1:25 remaining in the first half. Riley could not hold on.
Well, the pass was high. I know Pat Ryan would like to have had the ball down a little bit more. Eric Riley can't quite hold it. You wonder Mickey Schuller might have come up with this type of catch, but Pat Ryan knows that basically it was his fault for throwing the ball too high.
At the 28.
So it is a 3rd down and 18. Give you an idea of how the Jets have taken over in the second quarter. Miami accounting for only 35 yards in the second quarter. And while quarterback Mackey got off to a fast start, he was able to connect on only 3 of his last 9. Ryan again got the time and completes, but short of the first down. Scott Holman with his 4th catch of the day.
Short of the first down, but it puts the Jets in excellent field goal position.
And the Jets call for time.
11 yards on the play.
1:08 to go in this first half, and a timeout call.
I'm surprised with this timeout. You'd want that clock to keep running as much as you can to get the time off of it, so Miami wouldn't have a chance to come back with the ensuing kickoff.
Jet head coach Joe Walton said he's basically using the same system. Normally he'd go with 10-11 formations, and now the Jets use 4, trying to keep it simple in terms of number of formations.
Yes, but in talking with Richie Kotite, he felt that Seattle and Kansas City, both of Miami's opponents prior to this Jet game, didn't use enough formations, didn't give Miami's defense enough of a variety of looks.
35-yard field goal by Pat Ragusa. So the Jets are able to add to that lead. The Jets 17, the Dolphins 10. Pat Ragusa, a first-year player from St. John's, who last week missed from 46 and 33 able to connect. They're officially calling it 34 yards. And the Jets now lead it by 7.
This stout secondary of Miami's that we talked about at the beginning of the show certainly isn't looking good against Pat Ryan. If what a regular NFL quarterback can do against this type of secondary is any indication, I can see Miami's regular secondary being on the field next week.
And perhaps watching back in Miami and feeling a little bit better about things after all the negative words during the course of the week, particularly coming off the shutout of Kansas City. So Ragusa will kick off.
Pete Roth and Ronald Scott are deep.
Pete Roth, first-year player from Northern Illinois, and Ronald Scott, a rookie from Southern University, are the deep men. This is Scott. Lets it go out. Some confusion because the ball appeared to be headed out of bounds and then twisted back in, and the official put the flag down, perhaps too quickly.
Receivers, the 35-yard line. Receivers ball, 35 yards.
So the ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. And Kyle Mackey apparently okay. We're told he suffered a cut upper lip and some cuts in the mouth, and he's able to hang in.
Well, the official was right on top of the play. The ball did hit out of bounds and bounced back into the field of play, so it was a good call.
Up front, the Dolphins with Kehoe, Wiska,Owers, Gilmore, and Beals. Jets with their 8th penalty of the first half. Dolphins first down from the 35.
Mark Konechny, the ball
for Konechny, his first carry. He's out of Alma College in Michigan. Stopped by George Radikowski. They're in the hurry up, and here's Mackey right back. It is deflected. Broken up by Jay Brophy, a one-time Miami Dolphin.
And one of the captains for this football game against the Dolphins for the Jets. Now, Miami has pretty good field position here, and I can't help but wondering why the Jets did call timeout prior to that field goal. Because of that timeout, Miami still has a chance to get the ball downfield, possibly get a field goal.
Dolphins have a 3rd down and 2. 44 seconds to go, first half. And Mackey able to complete to Konechny. And he has the first down, run out by Sean Dykes, the right cornerback. Mark Konechny played with Toronto and Ottawa in the Canadian Football League.
9-yard gain.
Making his
first down.
First appearance in this first half. And a first down at the 48 Jet territory. Jets lead it 17-10. And Mackey going deep. Intended for Leland Douglas. And Sean Dykes on the coverage.
Nearly the big play. Had the ball been out in front a little bit farther, it would have been 6. Pretty good coverage back there by Douglas.
2nd and 10 at the 48.
Or Dykes, excuse me. In good position.
It'll be a 2nd and 10 at the 48. Catterbone flanked to the right, Douglas left. Almost intercepted by Sean Dykes.
Mackey is incomplete, intended for Leland Douglas.
Douglas, the intended receiver.
Broken up by Sean
Nose
Dykes.
tackle Scott Mercereau putting the pressure on.
And he's the reason for this incomplete pass. Mackey had to put a lot of heat on the ball to get rid of it because Mercereau was bearing down on him.
Mercereau, a 5th-round draft pick of the L.A. Rams, a last cut. Jets signed him as a free agent. And as we mentioned earlier, he could make the regular squad. flag is down. Some impressive open field running by the quarterback, Mackey.
Brought down by Scott Mercerall.
But a marker has been thrown. Gastineau on the stop.
Outside, number 99, defense, 5 yards from the line of scrimmage,
So
still third
Gastineau
down.
is called for the offside.
That's a tough penalty. Had he not been offsides, it would have put Miami in a 4th down situation with a little over 1 yard to go. Now they have 2 downs to pick up the 1st down, with still 24 seconds left on the clock.
3rd and 5.
It's a 3rd down and 5 at the 43. Hard hit by George Radikowski on the receiver, Eddie Chavis. Clock running, and now it is stopped with the timeout call.
Coach Shula on the sideline, and yeah, he wants a timeout right now. They made the 1st down, but this is where the receivers really pay the price when they catch a pass. The defense in this situation does not want to allow the long bomb. They don't want to give up a deep pass. They'll let the receivers, for the most part, catch the short pass and then come up and really lay a lick on it, hope to cause a fumble.
18 seconds remaining in this 1st half. And the Dolphins have 1 timeout remaining. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience, and a rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New York Jets and the National Football League is prohibited. There's Mackey going the middle and picked off. Larry Robinson with room. And Larry Robinson intercepted a bullet that was thrown by Kyle Mackey. The pass intended for Damian Riley.
Larry Robinson playing in the zone defense, just laying in the grass, reading the quarterback's eyes all the way, made a fine interception and a good return, too. Now, the Jets could possibly be in field goal position. Certainly, if they had Pat Leahy, they'd go for the field goal at this point with 6 seconds left on the clock. Now they may not try the field goal, but...
well, let's see. Be a 52-yard attempt. As you watch Larry Robinson, a man who was in the Miami training camp in '85 and '86, pick it off. Out of Northwest Louisiana, first-year NFL player. So 6 seconds remain. And Pat Ryan, with time running down, looking end zone for Harper. Broken up by Mark Irvin. And that is the end of the 1st half. And the Jets are hearing it from this crowd. As we mentioned earlier, 40,000 tickets went out. Some 34,000 were turned in. We are awaiting the total on the crowd. Certainly a loyal contingent of Jet fans have shown up, but they have not exactly. As we get underway in the 2nd half, Willie Beecher with the kick. And here comes Michael Harper. Check that, Reggie Smith on the return. Greg Storr, a backup linebacker, making the stop. So the Jets go to work, 1st down, just across their 21-yard line. Pat Ryan, 14 for 20. He's thrown for 2 touchdowns. Playing with that injured shoulder. A guy who has done well off the bench over the years, taking over upon occasion for Ken O'Brien. Last season, he won 2 early season games against Denver and New England, beat Kansas City in the wild card playoff game in his 10th year out of the University of Tennessee. Eddie Hunter across the 25, met by the outside linebacker, Dennis Folks. Dennis Folks played for the Minnesota Vikings for 3 years, started the final 8 games of the '85 season. Also had a shot with the Pittsburgh Steelers. 4th season out of West Virginia. 3-yard advance, 2nd down 7. At the 25, Banker at center, Humphrey and Koss at the guards, Jones and Thomas at the tackles. And it is Hopper on the reception, just shy of the 1st down. Tate Randall on the coverage.
Number 84, Michael Harper, just running a down and out pattern. You'll see him stop, swing out to the outside, and Pat Ryan gets him the ball. Pat Ryan is throwing with pain. This amazes me how accurately he's throwing the football, because each and every time he throws the football, his arm does hurt him.
Amazes you, something that you certainly can relate to.
Yeah, but I've always had a good throwing arm. You know, my arm was always in pretty good shape.
3rd down and 2. Now I'm talking about the pain you feel here in the booth. Dennis Blygen. And you heard that hit up here as Blygen collected the 1st down.
Little pitch. He had a good bit of blocking on the outside to seal off the defense. And here you see Scott Nicholas. Oh, that was a good hit by the defender, but I think Blygen got the best of that deal for the 1st down.
Robert Sowell and Scott Nicholas combining. Dennis Blygen, 1st down. Jets from their 33 were just underway. 3rd quarter, Jets 17, Dolphins 10. Blygen picking his way. Spinning out across the 37-yard line. Tim Pigeon, the inside linebacker, on the stop. And a swing around our 10-minute ticker. New England maintaining that 14-point lead. Chicago leads New Orleans. Cleveland led by Gary Danielson well in front. Look at Seattle. Jeff Kemp having a delightful day there.
Jeff Kemp, Gary Danielson, Pat Ryan, veteran quarterbacks. I think that's the answer to why these teams are doing so well.
2nd and 4 from the 39. Blygen, flag thrown. Blygen working his way to the 39-yard line.
Penalty marker on the play.
And the referee, Dick Jorgensen, calling it against Miami.
Dennis Folks, the linebacker.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, 52, defense, 1st down.
Dennis Folks, the linebacker, got in there a little bit late, and he was just a little too enthusiastic there to get to the quarterback. You should have pulled off. You know, we have these new pass rules this year protecting the quarterback. It should be 1 step, and he took well more than 1 step to get to the quarterback.
So the Jets have a 1st down at the Miami 45. Eddie Hunter and Dennis Blygen, the running backs. Michael Harper flank wide left side. Stan Hunter at the bottom of your screen. And here's Hunter. That's Eddie Hunter. Hit for a loss by the strong safety, Demetrius Johnson. Demetrius Johnson has been busy away from football. He owns a cleaning service in St. Louis. Recently opened a convenience store that is called Dr. J's Market. Demetrius Johnson, 5th round pick of Detroit back in '83. Played with the Lions for 4 years. Traded to Indianapolis. Cut in preseason.
Yeah, he started every game for the Lions in '85 and '86.
2nd and 15. Intended for Michael Harper. Sowell and Johnson covering Harper.
There's Michael Harper, number 84. He's going to get a couple of defenders around him this time because he's been catching so many passes. I think they're worrying about him a little bit. Of course, Pat Ryan was off target with the throw, just threw it over his head.
Harper banged up, bothered by a bruised knee. That's the reason that he is not running back kicks and punts. So Reggie Smith has been handling that phase of the game. 3rd and 15 from midfield. And Ryan goes deep for Harper. Intercepted. Sowell on the intercept. Dennis Blygen bumped him out. And the Dolphins with some support here in the crowd. Robert Sowell, key man on Miami's special teams back in '83, and able to pick this one off.
Sowell makes a fine interception here. He stepped to step with Harper all the way. The ball was underthrown. That's a tough throw for a right-handed quarterback to throw the deep shot down the right-hand side. If you don't get that left shoulder under your chin to get a lot of body on the throw, you're going to end up throwing it underneath. And that's what happened to Pat Ryan that time. He just didn't get the ball out in front.
And first time this afternoon that Ryan has been intercepted. Dolphins from their 43. And Mackey goes sideline. And let's see how they rule it. It is a completed pass. Leland Douglas has the first down. George Radikowski covering Douglas.
Douglas has good speed. He's a free agent out of Baylor, and he just runs down and stops, turns around, and the ball's right there. Makes a nice catch.
11-yard gain.
Jets 17, Dolphins 10. 4 minutes gone by. 3rd quarter. Marv Albert with Joe Namath from Giant Stadium. Ronald Scott found the hole. Gets inside the 40.
Tripped up by Ken Rose.
On the left side of your screen, they push Gastineau, number 99, out of the way. Bills, 65, throws an excellent block on Gastineau. That enabled the big gain. Bills is having a pretty good day against Mark Gastineau.
7-yard pickup for Scott, who comes in averaging just under 6 yards per carry. 2nd down and 3. Ricky Isom has the first down, stopped by Jim Haslett, inside linebacker.
As Mark Gastineau, number 99, throwing down the blocker, just could not recover fast enough to get inside to make the tackle. Joe Walton said yesterday, as tough a time as Mark Gastineau's having this season, the football teams they play against still respect Mark. They still put an extra blocker to his side. They're afraid of Gastineau rushing the passer, so he still does get double-teamed often.
But it will be interesting once the regular teams come back to really get a measure on Gastineau. Mackey running for the first down. So Mackey scrambling and close to the marker.
Trent Collins being stopped.
One more time, we show you Mark Gastineau, and Bill's doing a good job on him. Well, he just can't get into the play. The quarterback, Mackey, wisely runs out of the pocket and gets the first down, and a nice block there by number 80, Sampleton.
Gastineau going up against the right tackle, Bill Beals, first-year player from Northern Iowa, who was in the camp of the Saints in '86 and '87. And a man that Gastineau should be able to handle. Dolphins just shy of a first down. 2nd, less than a yard. Outside the Jet 25. And Scott has the first down.
Scott, the ball carrier.
Lions on the stop.
Well, that was good running by Scott. Marty Lyons didn't quite have enough handle on him to pull him down and stop him short of the first down. Scott, being as strong as he is, a strong runner, was able to break the tackle and get the first down.
Dolphins just inside the Jet 24-yard line. Dolphins have won 9 of the last 11 against the Jets. The last time they met, week 12 of last season, Miami won 45-3 as Dan Marino went wild. Nice play, David Lewis. The tight end, David Lewis, was bumped out at the 1. Bumped out by Ken Rose, a 22-yard pass play.
He'll play action fake again, freezes Jay Brophy just enough. to where Lewis can get the outside on him, makes the catch and goes. Again, Lewis, a former number one draft choice, is a good find for the Miami Dolphins.
And the Dolphins have a 1st and goal at the 1, trailing by 7. 8:40 to go, 3rd quarter. Scott and Isom are the running backs, and the Dolphins go with triple tight ends, Sampleton, Lewis, and Smith. One of the strengths on this replacement Dolphin team has been at the tight end position. Lawrence Sampleton, a 4-year man from Texas. David Lewis, one-time first-round pick of the Lions. And Willie Smith, a draft pick of the Cleveland Browns last year.
Not only do they help your pass receiving, but these guys are good blockers. They help the running game, too. Joe Walton can't be too happy with what he's seeing out on the field right now. Miami's put together a nice drive. Can't expect to stop Miami all day long. They've played good football. They scored 42 points against Kansas City last week, and against Seattle, they actually had the upper hand until they got a late penalty to turn the game around. I don't know what this timeout is about.
Apparently they are checking instant replay for where Lewis stepped out of bounds. And the replay official, Chuck Heberling, with the ruling that Lewis did, in fact, step out at the 1. So the replay confirming the call by the official. 1st and goal from the 1. 2nd back coming through, Scott. And he is short of the goal line. Ronald Scott spent this past preseason with the Dolphins after signing as a free agent. He had started a new job with a Los Angeles trucking company the day before the strike was called. And last week he did score the 3 touchdowns against Kansas City. Barry Bennett stopping Scott, who heads to the sideline. 2nd and goal from the 1. Taliaferri now and Isom in the backfield. And it's Mackey trying to sneak it in. The Dolphins indicating that they did score. And now the official indication, it is a Miami touchdown. Kyle Mackey takes it in.
Big Kyle Mackey at 6'4", 6'3", and 215 is a strong man. Just takes it right over the top.
And Don Shula just checking it out. He's not certain whether Mackey got it in. All right, he'll take it. It is a Miami touchdown, and they move within 1. Kyle Mackey out of East Texas State. And the point after is good by Willie Beecher. And a flag has been thrown. For today's smaller cars. Well, off that extra point by Willie Beecher, there was a penalty against the Jets for an offside. So the 5 yards assessed on the kick, and here it is. Beecher with a good one. And it's Reggie Smith to the 10. Nice cutback as he gets out near the 20-yard line. Liffort Hobley on the stop. 8 plays, 58 yards. Mackey capped it off. That's the first Dolphin rushing touchdown by a quarterback since Dan Marino did it back in November of '83 against the Baltimore Colts.
Used to be my favorite kind of run, you know, the 1-yard touchdown run.
Sure.
Of course, that was set up by the fine interception by Sowell, the cornerback for the Dolphins.
Particularly right into the line. I have visions of you hobbling right or left and swinging in. First down at the 20. Oh, a hard hit on Michael Harper as he made the catch. That interception of Ryan led to the Miami drive and the touchdown. Tate Randall with the hit on Michael Harper. 8-yard pickup, 2nd down and 2 coming up as we check the scores. That is 24-0 for Cleveland. The ultimate insult, they don't even put up the 0 for the Bengals. Seattle now in front 37-7. Eddie Hunter, and he is hit hard, and they're popping pretty good off this series as Hunter goes short of the 1st down.
Derek Kimberly made the stop.
It'll be a 3rd down and 1. Major problem the Jet replacement players had in their 2 previous games. Opposing nose tackles have just eaten them alive. Pass protection was the major difficulty, but that's not the case here today.
And it starts right there at the center with Ted Banker doing a good job.
Left guard, hand onside.
Blygen stopped. And again a hard hit as the Dolphins try to knock the ball loose.
Good defensive effort that time by the Miami Dolphins. Hey, that can give a team a big lift when you stop a team short of a 1st down in a tight situation like that. Could turn the momentum around. Lambrecht did play off Banker that time to help get in there and slow the runner down.
They have called for the yardsticks. Depends where the ball was spotted. And it was spotted in favor of the Jets, so Blygen was able to pick it up, and it's a 1st down for the Jets just inside their 30-yard line with 6.5 to go in this 3rd quarter. The Jets and the Dolphins are tied at 17. I mentioned earlier the last time they met, week 12 of last season, Miami beat the Jets 45-3 in a Monday night game at the Orange Bowl. At the time, the Jets were 10-1. It was the start of their slide. In their earlier meeting here, the Jets won in dramatic fashion, 51-45, and in overtime, Marino and O'Brien in a spectacular shootout. Blygen found a hole. Dan Marino threw for 6 touchdowns in that earlier game here at Giant Stadium.
Banker does a good job of blocking, but number 69, Tom Humphrey, comes around to throw a good block. A fine double team on Lambrecht. Just blew him way back off the ball. Good offensive blocker. They say that the key to blocking an opponent is desire. Technique, but mostly desire. You've got to want to block that man.
Joe Walton referring to that game here at Giant Stadium back in week number 3. And Ryan floats one for Hopper. Nice play. Tate Randall had to come back forward and then punched it away.
Yeah, I can't help but believe that you can see his arm is hurting him. Ryan's arm is hurting him. If you're going to throw a deep pattern such as the one he just tired, he needs to throw the ball earlier, release it earlier. That way it won't have to travel so far in the air.
3rd and 2 and the 38.
Here you see Pat letting the ball go. And he knows as soon as he throws the football that it's not going to get there.
Thus far in the 3rd quarter, Ryan only 2 out of 5 for 14 yards. He had the excellent 1st half. 3rd down and 2, the Jets from their 38. Miami 17, the Jets 17. 5.5 left in the 3rd. The completion to Scott Holman. And a 1st down. So Holman with his 5th catch of the day. 5 apiece for Michael Harper and Scott Holman.
I think the Jets crossed up the Dolphins that time. They had a 3rd and short yardage situation. Miami came in with their 4 down linemen, number 79 Reedon, and the Jets crossed them up with a pass, and he was wide open over there on the sideline. Plus, there wasn't any pressure put on Ryan. I really believe they were expecting the pass or the run play that time. Hobley was a good bit off the receiver, Holman.
So Ryan now looking at a 1st and 10 from his 47. But first, a timeout called by the Jets. 5:20 to go, 3rd quarter. We'll be back in a moment. The timeout called by the Jets.
I'm curious to why they took that timeout. Now, the last 2 passes that Pat has just thrown could have hurt his arm a little bit. There wasn't a 30-second clock problem at all, and they called a timeout. I can't figure it out unless his arm is bothering him.
He did come in with that sore shoulder. Did not seem to bother him in the first half. Goes to the ground for Hunter. Finds the hole. Nice run by the rookie out of Virginia Tech. Eddie Hunter goes 23 yards. Tate Randall pushed him out. And a first down for the Jets, who are on the move.
Good blocking at the point of attack, and then the rest of it is all Hunter. He just puts down some moves and gets to the outside with his speed. He has some pretty good speed.
Eddie Hunter and Dennis Blygen have gone most of the way at running back. Now Hunter to the sideline to get a rest, so Blygen the lone deep back, and a first down at the Miami 30. Blygen trying to swing wide is stopped. Randall right there. Tate Randall, originally drafted by Miami in 1982, played a year with Houston, 4 years with the Colts as a part-time safety. Very strong special teams player. Tate Randall putting the clamps on Dennis Blygen.
He was able to make that play partially because of Duke Shamo. He strung the play out and forced Blygen wider than he would have liked to have run, and Tate was out there waiting for him, Tate Randall.
Scott Holman is to the left. Michael Harper right. 2nd and 7 at the Miami 27. And Holman on the catch, but short of the first down, covered by Randall. 6th catch of the day for Scott Holman. But this a short pickup. It'll be a 3rd down and 2 down at the Miami 22-yard line.
There you see Bobby Hammond to Joe Walton's left, signaling in the plays. He's coach of the running backs for the Jets and does a really fine job. Was a good player himself in his old NFL days with the Giants.
Giants, Redskins, and then finished up in the USFL. 3rd and 2. Ryan signaling Hunter to move to the right of Blygen. Ryan could not find anyone. And he's close to the first down. Scott Nicholas covering up. All right, Doug Flutie with 1 touchdown pass. As New England leads Houston, they have now added the 0 to the Cincinnati Bengal column. Seattle pounding Detroit. Tampa Bay leads Minnesota. Rams over Atlanta.
Interesting situation here. It's 4th down and a little less than a yard. I wonder if they had Pat Leahy, would they try for the 3 points here? But they're going to go ahead. They don't have Pat Leahy, so they're going to go ahead and try and get the first down. Some confusion on the field, and the Jets have to waste another timeout.
Looks like the Jets set up a tackle eligible, informing the official that Vince Jasper would be eligible, but we'll take a break. Out of the final minutes, the Jets could find themselves in a hole. They have just used another timeout. They're down to 1 left.
Instead of used, I think wasted. I've always been taught to conserve those timeouts.
And they're going for the 4th and less than a yard rather than the 37-yard field goal attempt, and Blygen has the first down. Let's see, was the ball knocked loose? It was. The officials waiting for the players to unravel. Dolphin players felt that they had recovered. And they have. Blygen on the fumble, coughed it up.
Well, there was a good defensive hit here that knocks the ball loose. Blygen has the first down, but took a good lick there from Scott Nichols, number 57, and I believe that's why the ball came loose. Joe Walton's not very happy with that, and neither is Bobby Hammond. He coaches these running backs, and he doesn't like to see them fumble anytime.
But it will be Miami ball. They will take over at their 20-yard line, but first a timeout has been called. We'll be right back.
Jets
The new Remington microscreen.
Dolphins, most of you will see the second half of today's doubleheader. Either San Diego at the LA Raiders, Denver at Kansas City, right here on NBC Sports. We're back at Giant Stadium. The finale for the stand-ins tomorrow. Around the NFL, the regulars will be reporting off the fumble by Blygen. Miami taking over, and Mackey fires deep. Broken up by Trent Collins, the strong safety getting in front of the intended receiver, Damian Riley.
Well, Collins got over there in the nick of time. It was his own coverage, and Collins had that half of the field. Had the ball again, had the ball been out in front or throwing farther, it could have been 6 points for Miami.
Trent Collins out of San Diego State, free agent last year with the Denver Broncos during preseason, and he appeared in 2 preseason games with the Jets in '87. 2nd and 10. A hole for Scott. Flag is thrown as Scott gets out to the 25, a pickup of 6. If the play stands, it will be a 3rd down and 4.
5-yard face mask foul, number 22, defense, first down.
Sean Dykes, the right corner, is called for the face mask, and Miami has a first down at its 30-yard line.
Well, that was good, strong running by Ronald Scott.
3:10 left in this 3rd quarter. Jets and Miami are tied at 17. Dolphins now have Scott and Taliaferri in the backfield. Now Taliaferri splits out as a flanker to the right. Scott. 3-yard gain. It'll be a 2nd and 7. Ken Rose, the outside linebacker, made the stop. Ken Rose, one of several Jets who the coaches feel will stay with the club when the regulars return, and Ken just did make the ball game today. Coaching staff allowed him to fly to California, where his dad has been ailing, missed practice the last 2 days, and then arrived back here in time to play this afternoon. Scott. Close to the first down. Barry Bennett and Gerald Nichols combining on the tackle. The ball spotted just inside the 40. The marker is square on the 40, and it is called a first down.
Well, now maybe we'll be finding out if these Jet players, the veterans that are now in camp playing on the defensive line, are in any kind of physical condition. Scott has been held in check for most of the game, but it looks like he's starting to pile up the yardage.
2 minutes to go in this 3rd quarter. And it's Scott again. Short pickup. Barry Bennett on the stop. Barry Bennett, a 10-year man from Concordia, Minnesota. Very steady last year in filling in for the injured Mark Gastineau.
When a defense holds the offense to less than 4 yards, in this case just over a 2-yard gain, they've done their job on first down.
Ronald Scott only 39 yards, 15 carries. 2nd down 8, look out. Marty Lyons jumping.
I like it the way these guys always point to each other.
Yeah.
I didn't do it, he did it.
And it was the Jets who did it. Call on the offside. Now Pat Ryan limbering up.
I wouldn't be surprised if the long pass that he threw to the left earlier in the 3rd quarter that he underthrew didn't hurt his shoulder a bit more than normally.
Ryan looked very impressive in the first half, throwing for 2 touchdowns. He has been intercepted once, deflected, and picked off. Mark Hogan on the intercept, off the deflection. The pass intended for the tight end, Lawrence Sampleton. Looked like Trent Collins got a piece of it.
It's so important for these defensive players to get their hands up in the air when they're rushing the passer. Right now, it paid off for the interception for Collins. Yep, number 44, Trent Collins, knocks the ball up in the air for Mark Hogan to make the interception. A good play by Trent Collins.
Mark Hogan had a shot with Green Bay and then Hamilton in the Canadian Football League. Signed with the Jets as a free agent, played in a couple of preseason games. Here's Blygen. Dennis Blygen with the first down. Demetrius Johnson on the tackle.
Blygen makes a fine cut. Actually, at the point of attack, the Dolphins on the left side of your screen has the play stopped, but he cuts back to the inside. Fine running by Blygen.
And he has run for 44 yards, 10 carries. Did give it back to the Dolphins a moment ago with that fumble, but it did not cost with the Jets coming up with the interception. Only 15 seconds left, third quarter. Eddie Hunter gets the call. Scott Nicholas, Duke Shamel combining on the tackle as this third quarter runs down. A 4-yard advance, so when we return to get the fourth quarter going, the Jets will have it 2nd and 6 from the Miami 37. At the end of 3, we're tied at 17. Back after these messages from your local. The one positive for those standing in, they won't be wholesale cuts tomorrow. They will last until at least the end of the week. NFL teams will carry 85 players, then cut down next Saturday. Tied at 17 as we start out in the fourth quarter. Jets 2nd and 6 from the Miami 37. Eddie Hunter off the spin, stopped at the line. Charles Bennett, the right defensive end, making the stop. Charles Bennett, a 7th-round draft pick of the Chicago Bears in 1985. Spent some time with Dallas, also Saskatchewan in the Canadian Football League. There he is, out of Alligator, Mississippi. So teammates naturally call him Gator. How clever. Yes. Third down and 6 from the 37. 84 Hopper in motion. Flag throw. Hunter on the catch. Has the first down. Eddie Hunter hit out by Tim Pigeon, but a penalty marker thrown. 18-yard pass play. But it's against the Jets. Illegal motion at the snap.
Illegal motion, number 32, offense, 5 yards, still third down.
Well, the play doesn't count, but it's a fine pass by Ryan. And Tim Pigeon is in very good defensive position here. He just doesn't see the football. He had his man fairly well covered, but when you throw the pass as accurately as Ryan just threw it, then it's hard to defend against.
Well, in terms of possession, the Jets have turned things around. Miami dominating the ball in the first half. 3rd and 11. Back of the 42. And Ryan throws deep. Almost picked off. Intended for Michael Hopper. Liffort Hobley, the free safety, deflected it.
Now, that's the worst pass I've seen Ryan throw today. He had 3 defenders back there. He threw right into coverage. There's no chance of completing this ball unless you get a stroke of good luck. You see the defenders all around the football. Pat did have some pressure on him, Pat Ryan did, but he certainly threw the ball to the wrong place that time. Well, he had time to get rid of it. He just chose the wrong side of the field to go to.
And the Jets in punt formation. Here's O'Connor. Tom O'Connor popping one high. Good hang time and a fair catch. Let's see what happens here. The Jets claim they have recovered. Trell Hooper calling for the fair catch, but not able to come up with it. Only a 28-yard punt, and the Jets do recover. John Chirico, a rookie from Columbia University, on the recovery.
First and 10 for the Jets. Miami 13.
So the Jets take over at the 13. And the punter O'Connor certainly enjoyed it, as Hooper was not able to come up with that fair catch. Eddie Hunter finding the hole.
Picked up by Mike Limbrick.
Derek Wimberly, left defensive end. Inside linebacker Tim Pigeon combining on the stop. Picked up 6, second down and 4. There is John Chirico, who was signed as a free agent, was playing semi-pro with the Connecticut Giants. It's been a long time between victories for John Chirico at Columbia, sitting through 31 straight losses, and 2 here as one of the replacement players with the Jets. Leitchen knifing for the touchdown. The Jets take a 23-17 lead over the Dolphins.
Good blocking up front. Good hard running by Blygen.
And Derek Wimberly, the left defensive end of the Miami Dolphins, shake it up. First-year player out of Purdue. A native of Miami, Derek Wimberly, is down. 7-yard touchdown run by Blygen, who has rushed for 51 yards on 11 carries. Has had a very fine afternoon. Signed as a free agent. Was released by the Jets back in September. He'd been with the club for 3 years. Had a short stay with Tampa Bay. Two minutes have gone by in this fourth quarter. And Wimberly, number 78, trying to walk it off.
You know, another factor that makes this game important, too, should one of these teams make it to the playoffs or a divisional championship or Super Bowl, these fellas out in the football field now are entitled to a half of the share of the playoff money.
So they will be rooting for the regulars.
That's right.
Pat Ragusa attempting the extra point. Scott Holman did a nice job putting the snap down. Turning the ball around. Jets now lead by 7.
Cold pills travel.
Game is being brought to you by Michelob Light. When the sun goes down, light up the night with Michelob Light. By AT&T, the right choice. And by Good News Plus with the Lubra Smooth Strip for extra smoothness and comfort. Only from Gillette. Well, a crowd of 18,249. We told you earlier 40,000 tickets went out. 34,000 were turned in. Capacity here is just under 77,000 at Giant Stadium. So 18,249 have turned out for this final weekend of replacement football. The Jets now lead the Dolphins 24-17. Ronald Scott on the return. Out to the 25-yard line. So he returned at 22 yards. New Orleans closing in on Chicago. Cleveland continues to pull away. Seattle in a laugher against the Detroit Lions.
23-yard return.
Rams over Atlanta. Green Bay now leading Philadelphia. And the Dolphins first down from the 26-yard line. Kyle Mackey, the quarterback in his 3rd year from East Texas State, one-time St. Louis Cardinal. A bobble act. Scott able to hold on, but a short pickup. Ken Rose, the outside linebacker, right there. Well, the Columbia rookie, John Chirico, came up with a big play moments ago. The recovery off that fair catch fumble, and we asked him about his losing ways as a member of the Columbia Lions. Here's John.
Oh, it's a horrible feeling going out there week after week, putting everything you have into practices every day during the week, and coming up empty-handed every Saturday without a victory. But you just got to reach in within you to keep going on.
How will you react to that first victory should it come here today?
I'll be ecstatic. I don't think there'll be any other feeling like I've had in a while if we win today.
So it's 31 straight at Columbia, 2 as a member of the replacement Jets for John Chirico. Ronald Scott on the carry as we were listening to Chirico, and the Dolphins 3rd down and 5 from their 31, 11:50 to go in this fourth quarter. Jets 24, Miami 17. Gastineau chasing Mackey, and he has the sack. That is his first of the season. Reminds me of the sardonic story that was told by Rocky Cleaver as they were watching Gastineau in his first game with the replacement players. They said they were hoisting beers for every time Gastineau would come up with a sack, and then they said, well, they hoist when he comes up with a tackle, and then they said, well, since that didn't come, they'd hoist one when he's in the lineup.
Well, he made a big play that time that gives the Jets good field position right here, and he put a fine move on Bills the last play. Gastineau, normally an upfield rusher, faked upfield and darted inside to make the play.
Reggie Smith on the punt return, and we'll be right back.
Congratulate him. He's a mighty happy man getting his first sack of the season. Gastineau's noted for his wide outside rush. Here he fakes Bills out of position and goes inside to be able to make the tackle. A sign that he is getting his mobility back. He's playing today without his knee brace. He has much more confidence in his knee now, and we may now see the old Mark Gastineau finally back.
But the major test will come when the regulars get back starting next week against the Redskins. The sack putting the Jets in good field position off only a 28-yard punt by Stacy Gore. Here's Blygen. Could not make the turn. Duke Shamel, Tate Randall, run him out of bounds. 4 minutes gone by in this fourth quarter at Giant Stadium. The Jets 24, the Dolphins 17, 2nd and 9 at the 44. So the Jets able to do it against that Dolphin defense that held the Kansas City Chiefs in check. Dolphins winning last week 42-0, while the Jets were shut out 6-0 by Indianapolis. But it's so tough to figure with these ball clubs on the field. Blygen on the dump off is a couple of yards short of the first down. Scott Nicholas and Dennis Folks combining on the tackle.
Another smart move by quarterback Pat Ryan. Couldn't find a deep receiver, started to run with the football, then he found Blygen in there for the reception. Better to be able to dump that ball off to a running back, a wide receiver, a tight end anytime rather than a quarterback taking upfield.
It will be a 3rd and about 3 down at the 38. Remember, the Jets have already used 2 of their 3 timeouts. The Dolphins have all 3 remaining, and that could be a factor later on. Eddie Hunter cutting back, battling for that first down yardage, and he's close. Eddie Hunter, who had been working construction in Washington, D.C., he says even though he knows this is his finale, it's been a good experience for him, and he feels that it will help him next season when he tries to make the Jets once again. He's a rookie out of Virginia Tech. Dolphins appear to be pleased, and it looks like let's see, looks like they are calling for the yardsticks.
Be an interesting situation if it's 4th down. I have a feeling the Jets might go for the first down if it's only a foot, and that's what it is. They may go for the first down rather than punt the ball in this situation.
It is a 4th and less than a yard. Another measurement out at midfield, and it comes out the same way, inches away. We've received word that the Miami punter, Stacy Gore, has suffered a strained groin. His last punt was only 28 yards, and he may not be available. So the Jets 4th and inches. John Chirico picks up the first down. Chirico handling the ball for the first time today. And he has the first down.
Oh, he's got to be a thrilled young man. It's been a long time since he's been on the leading side. And his big moment, of course, came earlier when he recovered the fumbled punt, and here he drives hard into the line to pick up the first down. He won't know how to behave, Marv, if the Jets win the game. Are you kidding? It's been so long since he's been on a winning team.
He may be a bit on the irrational side in the locker room should the Jets hold on. First out of the 34. Hunter tries to go outside, but he is stopped. Duke Shamel, outside linebacker, first-year player from South Dakota. On the tackle of Hunter.
Here you see number 84, Harper, trying to throw a block on Shamel and just not get the job done. He's rather oversized or undersized to try and block Shamel, but he gave it a pretty good effort.
Harper at 5'10", 180 pounds, and Shamel 6'3", 235.
Yeah, I'd say it's a mismatch.
Second down 9 from the Miami 33, 8.5 remaining, fourth quarter. And Ryan with a long look. The tight end, Tony Sweet, a rookie from Montclair State, combining on a 22-yard play. Hobley and Randall and Johnson on the stop.
You can't say enough for this offensive pass protection that the Jets are giving to Pat Ryan. His receivers are covered. He looks to go downfield and finally finds the open receiver. But it's the pass protection that made this last play.
And for Sweet, his first catch of the day. Make it the second catch of the day. Ryan is 20 for 30. 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And Blygen gang tackle. Scott Nicholas led the way. So Blygen doing it both on the ground and also as a receiver. Next Sunday, the Jets will play at Washington, while the real Dolphins will finally play their first regular season game at Joe Robbie Stadium. Miami hosting Buffalo. That is just ahead. San Diego at the LA Raiders, Denver at Kansas City. Most of you will see the second half of our doubleheader. Second and goal from the 7. Eddie Hunter stopped, short pickup. Pigeon and Wimberly combining.
Jets are fairly content to keep the ball on the ground right now, to keep running their clock. They can afford a field goal even, or get a field goal. He'll have to give them a 10-point lead, so I don't think they'll be doing anything risky.
Third down play from the 5. Hunter and Blygen, the running backs. Balanced attack by the Jets throughout the day. And Ryan completes for the touchdown to Stan Hunter. Stan Hunter, a record-setting receiver at Bowling Green, puts the Jets on top 30-17.
Hunter just gets inside of Hobley. Hobley was screened out like the old basketball screen. Had to run around an offensive receiver and got there too late to make the play. There you see, had to run around number 84, Michael Harper.
Now the point after attempt by Ragusa. The Jets leading the Dolphins 31-17 with 6:18 left in this fourth quarter. Point of view, has certainly been an expert on the subject of knee braces, and Mark Gastineau has made the switch, not wearing a brace today, but was going to wear the lighter type brace.
Right, now this brace right here is the brace that Mark Gastineau wore. It weighs about 33 ounces, and he feels that it's a little heavy and uncomfortable for him. This is the new kind of brace. This material is much lighter. It only weighs 21 ounces. And so I think we'll see more football players wearing the knee braces as a protective measure, not necessarily after they get injured, but before they get injured. At least I think they should wear them.
But Gastineau discarding the brace today, and there were some people who did not agree with Mark. They felt that perhaps he should still be wearing it. He did come up with his first sack of the day.
Well, I tried to talk him into wearing it yesterday at practice. Again, the only problem with wearing the brace is there is a little discomfort. But that comes in the warm-ups before the game. Once you get into the heat of the battle, you forget about that brace, and all it can do is help you.
All right, the Jet kickoff going out of bounds, so the Dolphins accept it at the 35-yard line. Jets lead it 31-17, 6:15 remaining in the fourth quarter. Kyle Mackey, the quarterback, he's gone all the way. Mark Konechny. Stop at the line. Marty Lyons on the tackle.
Hurry-up offense here by the Miami Dolphins now.
And out of the shotgun, Mackey gets it away. Eddie Chavis. First down and more, run out by the strong safety, Trent Collins. 27-yard pass play. Eddie Chavis, a local product out of Plainfield, New Jersey.
See, two things the hurry-up offense can do. One, certainly it does conserve time. But the other thing it does, the quarterback knows what the previous pass coverage was, or the offensive coordinator knows what the previous pass coverage of the defense was, and it doesn't give the defense a chance to change their coverage. So, consequently, they're running against the defense they know beforehand what to do against.
Mackey with a first from the 37 with a jump pass. Did well to get it off, intended for Damian Riley. It'll be a 2nd and 10 at the Jet 37.
That's one of those passes quarterbacks don't practice very often,
yes.
Leaping into the air to throw it. He had Riley wide open. He just didn't get the ball to him.
Mackey now 16 for 32, 196 yards, intercepted 3 times. As we check the scores, New Orleans now within 1 of the Chicago Bears. Pittsburgh in front of Indianapolis. Seattle led by Jeff Kemp in a wipeout. 2nd and 10 from the 37. And Mackey on the run. And leaps over the attempted tackler.
Now that reminds me of the old D. Mackey, the tight end. Reckless abandon. Reckless abandon. The boy wants to win badly, and he's doing everything he can to pull out a victory. You don't see too many quarterbacks running that way these days.
Kyle Mackey, the son of Joe's tight end with the Jets for a spell, D. Mackey. He also played with the 49ers and the Colts. Coached high school football for some time. In fact, coached his son. Touch pass that is broken up. Larry Robinson had a shot at it. Mackey throwing in a crowd intended for Eddie Chavis.
Had Mackey had just a hair more time, he might have been able to get the ball downfield, but Marty Lyons put a good rush from the outside and forced Mackey to throw the ball quickly. Coach Schuller can't be very happy at this point. He was worried about the return of these Jet veterans, and obviously with good reason.
And the big factor has been the combination of Pat Ryan and Ted Banker at center. 2nd and 10 from the 24. And Mackey goes the middle. Nice pass and a first down. Damian Riley made the catch in front of the free safety, George Radikowski. Damian Riley out of the Bronx. In fact, played basketball at Aviation High School in Queens. First-year player from Rhode Island. Said he had many ticket requests for his appearance back in his hometown today. 1st and goal from the 9. Mackey getting the time, and it was dropped. Leland Douglas took a hit from behind from Sean Dykes.
I'm not so sure he dropped that one, Marv. It looked like a good defensive play by Sean Dykes to me. He came over the top with his right hand and batted the ball down, I thought. Here you see Dykes. Very close to him. Now watch Dykes' right arm. There, he gets it in there. Good defensive play.
So Dykes did get a piece of it, and it will be a 2nd and goal from the 9. Miami with 4 wideouts. Here's Mackey stepping up on the run. Lyons got a piece of him. 4:15 remaining in this 4th quarter, and the Jets lead the Dolphins 31-17.
See Marty Lyons getting up slowly. After Miami's over 11 minutes of possession the first quarter, you have to figure these guys are tired.
And I do want to point out that NFL rules require that we present away games starting with the opening kickoff, so to stations in the team's home area. So viewers in Denver and San Diego will be leaving this game in a few minutes for a telecast involving their home team. As Mackey runs it in. Exciting move by quarterback Kyle Mackey, airborne again.
And that brings back memories of Joe Kapp jumping over people and through people in his old days. What effort, what desire we see here by Kyle Mackey.
Well, we saw a jump pass, we saw an attempted leap over a jet tackler, and we see him leaping into the end zone. Kyle Mackey. And Marty Lyons shaken up on the play.
He was slow getting up from the last play. I thought he might just be winded a bit, but he could be bumped up a bit. 32 yards rushing for Mackey. That's a pretty good day for a quarterback.
Think other clubs might show some interest in Mackey next season off what he has shown?
I would think so. And one of the reasons why is because of his lack of interceptions. He's a smart quarterback. He doesn't throw the ball into coverage. And he has a strong arm for the NFL.
Willie Beecher put a throw flag was thrown. Lack of interceptions until today.
Offside, number 40, defense, point is good, 5-yard penalty on the kickoff.
All right, Mark Hogan was offside, so the penalty will come on the kickoff, and the Dolphins move within 7 with 3:36 remaining in this 4th quarter. The Jets 31, the Dolphins 24. And this game, we should point out, is the property of the National Football League. The Jets and the Miami Dolphins with Joe all rights reserved. Wanted to point that out.
It's all right with me.
Yes.
There's Kyle Mackey.
Hey, Austin!
Kyle making certain that he handles all possibilities. He had a high dad and a high mom today. Joe Walton hoping that his ball club will go over 500 at 3 up and 2 down. You know, as a rookie with the Washington Redskins back in '57, Joe Walton originally was tried at left cornerback. The right cornerback on that club was a fellow by the name of Don Shula. And then Walton was moved to tight end, went on to an outstanding NFL career at tight end. Looking for onside here?
Well, that's a possibility, but I don't think so. With 3:38 left, I still think they'll kick the ball deep. They have 3 timeouts on the clock also.
Rookie from Utah State, Willie Beecher, does go deep. Would like to have gone deeper. Eddie Hunter on the return. Penalty markers down as Hunter cuts across the 25-yard line. Duke Shamil on the stop.
Penalty marker on the play.
And the call against the Jets, it has been a penalty-filled afternoon. But the Jets are
illegal block, number 22, receiving team, first down.
All right, Sean Dykes called on the penalty. The Jets, no stranger to a host of penalties being called. They've certainly had their problems the last few years in that department. Chargers and the Raiders, the Broncos and the Chiefs. Most of you will see the second half of our NBC doubleheader. 16th penalty called on the Jets, and that is a new club record. Previous record 15 in a game against the Houston Oilers back in the '81 season. 3.5 to go in this fourth quarter. Hunter to the 15. 5-yard advance. Lambrecht, the nose tackle. Nicholas, inside linebacker, on the tackle.
That 16 penalty record for 90 yards is one record I'm sure the old Jets and the regulars don't mind giving up.
Yeah, they'll say with that one we don't want an asterisk.
Keep it in the record books.
2nd down and 5 at the 15. The Jets would like to hold on to the football. They have only that one timeout remaining. They used 2 earlier this second half. Miami with its 3 timeouts, and that is rejected. Looks like Charles Bennett was able to get a piece of it. There's Bennett, right defensive end out of southwestern Louisiana.
Bennett just stopped the completion to the receiver, was wide open. That was a big play. Now with 2:46 left on the clock, the Jets have a big 3rd down situation. Otherwise, they give the ball back to the Dolphins with a chance to tie the game. You see Bennett, number 93, get his hands up there and knock it down. That's it. He deflects the pass. Good play by Charles Bennett.
It is a 3rd and 5 at the 15. Ryan stumbling. Scott Holman could not hold it. Covered by Urban and so well. And the Jets go into punt formation, and look at the New Orleans Saints as they have taken a 2-point lead on the Chicago Bears.
Chicago Bears forgot how to lose. They've won 33 out of the last 36. This would be a major upset.
It's tough to say upset in these days of replacement football, but when you talk the Chicago Bears, it's an upset the way things have been going. It is just impossible to get any kind of a feel when you look at the rosters of the replacement players. Just did get it away, but not a good punt by O'Connor. Only an 18-yard punt. Tim Pigeon with the big rush. Here it is.
The big rush, and he does a good job, O'Connor does, of taking a short step and getting it off. It wasn't a long punt, but at least it wasn't blocked.
There's Pigeon, rookie out of Syracuse. O'Connor has not received adequate protection according to the coaching and the coaching staff. The snaps have not been good, and he's had his ups and downs. 1st down at the 33. Jets lead by 7. Lawrence Sampleton inside the 30. 6'5" tight end, tough to haul down. Jim Haslett hanging on to make the stop. You see the time remaining in the 4th quarter.
I don't think time's a factor at all right now for the Miami Dolphins. They have their 3 timeouts remaining.
2nd and 6 from the 29. Dolphins trying to get this drive going to tie it. And Mackey could not find anyone, but he can run. Sliding to the 25. Gastineau on the cover-up. And a penalty marker is down. Mackey short of the first.
Illegal formation, offense, 12 men on the field, defense, the penalty's offset. We'll replay it, 2nd down. Right now we have the 2-minute warning.
All right, so we'll take a break. Just under 2 minutes to go in this 4th quarter.
Wondering what can be an illegal formation for an offensive team. Well, it's very simple. You have to have at least 7 men on the line of scrimmage. On your screen, the left tackle is well off the line of scrimmage on the offensive line at the top of the screen, and on the bottom of the screen also, the right tackle is off the line of scrimmage. He's too far back. You have to have 7 men at least on the line of scrimmage to have a legal formation.
So offsetting penalties. That's the timeout situation. Dolphins 3 left. Jets with only 1, calling the 2 timeouts earlier this second half. Second down 6 for Miami. From the Jet 29, the Jets lead the Dolphins 31-24. Dolphins trying to tie it. Quarterback Kyle Mackey throwing deep. Intended for John Taliaferri. It will be a 3rd down and 6.
Oh, he was open. Kyle is upset with himself. He had Taliaferri open this time. But he'll break into the middle downfield. Over to the middle. He's open. Drop the ball over the defender's head, and you have 6 points. And Kyle says, oh, shucks. Oh, he missed the 6 points.
Is that what he said, huh?
Pretty sure that's what he said.
All right, 3rd down and 6. And the Dolphins have the 1st down. Taliaferri on the reception, tackled by Ken Rose. So Mackey is now 19 for 39. Miami calling for a timeout. 1:45 left, 4th quarter.
7 chasing Taliaferri. Taliaferri makes a nice cut and gets away from him, but never has control of the ball as he goes out of bounds. A good call by the official.
Trent Collins, the strong safety, with that jarring hit from behind. So it will be a 2nd and 10. Just outside the 20. Jets clinging to a 7-point lead. Dolphins hoping to tie it. 1:35 to go, 4th quarter. And it's dropped by Taliaferri. He was more concerned with the move downfield.
For a guy that's been touted as having excellent hands and being a good receiver, that's his 3rd drop pass for the game.
3rd and 10. Green Bay knocking off Philadelphia in overtime, 16-10. And the Dolphins would love to take this one to overtime. 3rd down play. And Mackey on the run. Mackey has the 1st down. He has run so well. Kyle Mackey bumped out by Trent Collins. He is a big quarterback, 6'3", 215. Couldn't find anyone, so does it himself.
Well, the Jets had good coverage downfield. They're only bringing 4 linemen, and they're playing a zone defense back there. I think if Kyle does stick around in the NFL, he'll learn to go out of bounds a little bit faster.
He has carried 8 times for 43 yards. Has a 1st and goal at the 8. Konechny found the hole, gets it inside the 5. Mark Konechny tripped up by Ken Rose. And the clock is stopped with 1:20 to go in this 4th quarter. And Miami calls timeout. So the Dolphins will have 2 timeouts remaining. And when we resume, it will be a 2nd and goal from the 3. So Don Shula talking it over with Kyle Mackey. Correction, they are now down to 1 timeout remaining. 1 apiece. Don Shula, the only coach to reach the Super Bowl 3 straight years, and in the regular season, he has just killed the Jets. Shula, 22 wins, only 1 loss, and there has been 1 tie. And Joe Walton in his 5th year as head coach of the Jets, looking to go over the 500 mark. And like Shula, anxiously awaiting the real Jets, and in Shula's case, the real Dolphins to show up tomorrow.
The real Jets just came back on the field. Marty Lyons and Mesereau both went back into the game.
2nd and goal from the 3. Here's Scott. Not able to get it in. Sean Dykes cut him off. Dykes coming up from his right cornerback position. And it will be a 3rd and goal at the 1. And a timeout called by the Jets. Jet player injured. It is Jay Brophy, the one-time Miami Dolphin. Played for the Dolphins for 3 years out of the University of Miami. Most of you will see the second half of our doubleheader. The Chargers and the Raiders from the Coliseum in Los Angeles, or the Broncos and the Chiefs from Arrowhead in Kansas City. That is next. It will be a 3rd and goal down at the 1. Jets lead the Dolphins 31-24 with 1:05 remaining in this 4th quarter. There is Jay Brophy. Trainer Bob Reese checking him out. Brophy, a 2nd-round draft pick of the Dolphins back in 1984. Team captain of the Miami Hurricanes.
Now, this injury timeout won't be charged to the Jets' regular timeouts. They still have one left should they get the ball back.
The story of the game, a story of the 2 quarterbacks. The veteran Pat Ryan made his return several days ago, just before the deadline, and has played very well despite the injured shoulder. And the young quarterback from East Texas State, Kyle Mackey. Well, apparently they have charged the timeout against the Jets. Nice fake by Scott. Mackey for the touchdown. Beautiful fake into the line by Ronald Scott. It fooled the Jets and David Lewis on the reception to bring the Dolphins within 1.
A gutsy call by the Miami offensive staff, throwing the football down there when you have those big running backs. They fooled the Jets completely.
And this, a pressure situation for Willie Beecher, looking to tie it up. The Jets by 1. Stankiewicz will hold. And we're tied, but a flag has been tossed. Penalty marker down. We have had markers on almost every extra point attempt. Willie Beecher out of Utah State able to put it through.
Illegal snap by the center. He had a double pump, 5-yard penalty.
Whoa.
Retry.
A double pump illegal snap, and they will do it again. And now Willie Beecher will really face the pressure. He drops back 5 more and has to kick it again. Beecher was in the Dolphin camp during preseason as a free agent, then was released. He went to work selling cars, also played some semi-pro baseball, and here he is as the kicker for the Dolphins. The first 2 weeks of the season, when the regulars were on hand, there were 8 missed extra points in the NFL. During the course of the 2 replacement weeks, 9 missed extra points, so the quality there did not suffer. But now the longer attempt, this is actually a 24-yard attempt. It is good. In effect, a 24-yard field goal range, extra point converted by Willie Beecher, and we're tied at 31 with 1:01 left, 4th quarter.
The touchdown pass to Lewis, who's wide open after the good play fake, and Scott's good dive over the top. You think Mackey's a happy guy right now? Hey, he's even hugging the official. Here's the good fake by Scott.
And it was a beautiful fake by the running back, Ronald Scott. Mackey to David Lewis. An adventure on the extra point, a double pump illegal snap. That's one you don't hear too frequently.
Nope. Well, the Jets are faced with a minute and 1 second left on the clock and no timeouts. Can't help but go back to the third quarter when they called 2 timeouts, and we haven't figured out the reasons why yet. They'd love to have them now, I know that.
Here's the kickoff by Beecher. So Mackey has thrown for 2, and he has run for 2. Short kickoff, and David Hunter from his 15. Should say Eddie Hunter. Breaking out to the 27-yard line. Scott Nicholas, Demetrius Johnson on the stop. 57 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. We're tied at 31.
Defensively, you don't want to give up the long gainer. You want to force the Jets to throw the ball short, tackle the player on the field to keep the clock running right now. That's what Miami's going to try and do. The Jets don't have a lot of time to put together 6 or 7 plays. They have to get big chunks of yardage, and it's going to be difficult to do if Miami plays it smartly.
Dolphins coming back from a 14-point deficit. And Ryan went through the hands of Blygen. It will be a 2nd and 10 from the 27.
And it's a risky situation, too, for the Jets. You know, the Dolphins are expecting pass. They're playing pass all the way. They're sitting back there reading the quarterback. This is a time that an interception can happen, and can happen because of good defensive play.
Ryan is 0 for his last 3. But he has had a solid day. 52 seconds to go. Fourth quarter. Sideline. Hits Hopper. It's a 27-yard pass play that is now being negated. The call is a juggle and lost it out of bounds. It is ruled incomplete.
Well, first, let's Harper get behind him too far. Here we'll see if he does hold the ball. No, sirree. Good call by the official.
They bring it back, and it will be a 3rd and 10 from the 27.
What I don't understand is how Sowell, with his experience, can allow the receiver to get that far behind him. I know he has deep help with the safety, but still you want to make him throw underneath, force them to throw underneath.
Scott Holman out to the right. He's been an effective receiver. He's top of your screen. Ryan was looking that way. Now goes shorter range and hits Hopper. But it's short of the first down. Tate Randall on the coverage. Down to 39 seconds remaining. Fourth quarter.
That's the kind of passes that the Dolphins don't mind the Jets going for right now. Well, I think the pressure is going to be put on the snapper for the Jets right now.
And that is Martin Cornelson, who has not practiced at all during the course of the week. Can't get away from his job on Wall Street. So he doesn't operate as the backup center, strictly the snapper, and he will snap one to Tom O'Connor with his 4th down and 4. A better kick for O'Connor. He's had his troubles. Catterbone on the return with 31 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. 34-yard punt. Mike Wittick, who has played well on special teams, making the tackle for the Jets. The Jets and the Dolphins tied at 31. And Miami now first down from their 42-yard line.
Well, they're going to try and hit the outside passes because they only have 1 timeout left. They'd like to use that at the very end to set up a field goal attempt. So I would think we'd see him trying to hit the seams on the outside of the field to catch the ball and go out of bounds.
Leland Douglas flanks to the left side. And Damian Riley to the right. Good protection for Mackey. Douglas on the catch, but a very short pickup. Sean Dykes right there. Clock running down to 20 seconds in the fourth quarter.
Good play by Dykes by not allowing the receiver to get out of bounds.
2nd down play. 10 seconds left. Mackey Able to complete. Time running down. Taliaferri on the catch. Clock is stopped with 6 seconds remaining as Miami calls for time. 6 seconds left in regulation.
Well, last time out, you know what they're going to do. They're going to have to go deep, hope for a fine catch or hope for a pass interference call, but they've got to take the football down to the end zone now.
It would be a 58-yard field goal attempt, so you figure the Dolphins will launch the Hail Mary. Neither club with a timeout remaining. And it will be a desperation pass attempted by Kyle Mackey. And as you mentioned earlier, you brought up the name Joe Kapp. There are some of those instincts within the philosophy of Kyle Mackey. Do it any way you can.
That's right, to get the job done. Joe was a real leader with the Minnesota Vikings, certainly when he was there. And it looks like this young man, Kyle Mackey, is a fine leader out in the football field.
So the Dolphins go with the 4 wide receivers and Mackey out of the shotgun. 6 seconds left. Mackey waits for receivers to get downfield. He was hit from behind. Nearly intercepted by JoJo Heath as time runs out in regulation. And we head to overtime. The Jets and Miami are tied at 31. The Dolphins coming back from a 14-point deficit.
A lot of credit has to be given to that Jet defensive front four who put pressure on Mackey that time, not allowing him to get the ball downfield. I believe it was Bennett, number 78, that made the play. Who knows, when the ball's thrown up for grabs like that, anyone can come down for it, but he eliminated that possibility with his good hustle.
The stats on Mackey now: 22 for 44, 242 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's also run for 43 yards on 8 carries, and he has run for 2 touchdowns. Now we're going to have the coin flip. The Dolphins won the flip at the start of the game. They had lost their previous 8 flips. They were 0 for the season in terms of coin flips, losing 4 in preseason, 4 in regular season.
Heads it is. The Jets win the toss. You will receive. Which ball will be back? Jets have won the toss. Will receive.
So the Dolphins will kick off to the Jets, and we will pause for station identification. This is the NBC television network. The Jets 5-4-1 in overtime play. The Dolphins 4-8-1. And this is the 3rd time these 2 teams have gone into overtime. The Jets with a victory, and there has been 1 tie. 15-minute sudden death overtime. Reggie Smith, Eddie Hunter are back. A short kickoff, and this is Smith. Super Nat out across the 25-yard line. The Jets and the Dolphins tied at 31. Well, there will not be a traffic jam getting out of Giant Stadium today, even with the overtime. Only 18,249 on hand for this final game of replacement football. Some 40,000 tickets were out of a possible capacity of just under 77,000. First down, the ball spotted up the 29-yard line. Lygen and Hunter, the running backs. Ryan, the quarterback. Lygen to the 37. The nose tackle, Mike Lambrecht, on the stop.
Elijah with a nice move, inside fake, took it outside to gain the good yardage that time. I can't help but wondering which team is in the better physical condition right now, because that may very well tell the tale here at the end of the game.
And we are talking about 2 squads that have been put together in hodgepodge style over the last 3 weeks. That is something we will never know in terms of physical condition. Ball spotted at the 38, 2nd and 1. Lygen ran into his own man, but able to pick up the first down. Beautiful cut by Lygen. The tackle by Tate Randall. 16-yard run.
Good second effort here by Blygen. The play is stopped cold over here by Demetrius Johnson, and then Blygen just takes it back the other way and outruns the defenders for the good gain.
So Blygen has gone 76 yards on 14 carries. He has had an excellent day.
Yeah, I wouldn't keep him out of the game very long.
Eddie Hunter now the lone deep back as Blygen went to the bench. First down at the Miami 47. This is Hunter, not able to hold on. And Hunter receiving some instructions from Ryan.
Yeah, Pat Ryan thought that Hunter should have kept running. He let him a little bit and threw the ball with some heat on it, threw a hard pass, and Hunter couldn't handle it. But what happened is Hunter fooled Ryan by stopping and waiting on the ball rather than continuing his flare-type action pass route.
Pat Ryan has 1 for his last 6. Minute and 40 into overtime. The Jets and Dolphins tied at 31. Marv Albert, Joe Namath from Giant Stadium. Blygen found the hole. Gets inside the 42-yard line.
Scott Nicholas on the tackle.
Dennis Folks, Scott Nicholas combining. It will be a 3rd down and 5 at the Miami 42.
Critical game for both teams. They're battling for first place. Big game.
And particularly so for the people who will be wearing the Jet and Dolphin uniforms starting tomorrow with both the Jets and the Dolphins at 2-2. 3rd down 5. Ryan has it deflected. Lamprecht, the nose tackle, able to get a piece of it. These are all final scores as we swing around the early games. All finals. And Green Bay winning in overtime. Now the later games. San Diego in front 7-0. Denver leading Kansas City. Tom O'Connor will punt from his 43 and pops it high. Catterbone on the fair catch. 32-yard punt. O'Connor did not want to put it into the end zone and did the job. Miami will start from their 10.
Hey, Catterbone showed me something there. It's tough to catch the knuckleball. It's tough to hit it in baseball. When you have a punt coming down that is a kind of a knuckleball looking flight, it's really tough to judge and catch. And in that territory, he made a really fine catch to give him decent field position anyway.
So the Dolphins starting up from just outside their 10. 2.5 minutes gone by in overtime. Jets and Miami tied at 31. Isom and Taliaferri, the running backs. Good pressure on the quarterback, Mackey. Lawrence Sampleton, the intended receiver. And that gets the biggest roar of the day. He is down to the 20, 15, 5. Beautiful run. Changing directions, putting on the spin. And now making up its own rules. Get off the field. 2nd and 10. And Mackey with the bullet. Damian Riley has the first down across the 30. 19-yard pass play. Now that was inspirational.
The squirrel was inspiration. Yes. Yeah. I think the catch that Damian Riley just made was inspiration for the Dolphins.
Dolphins first down from their 30-yard line. 3 minutes into this overtime session. Mackey did get it off. Chased by number 77, Gerald Nichols, the rookie from Florida State.
Nichols on the left side of the screen runs the stunt. You see 77 right here chasing Kyle Mackey. They talked about Nichols being too light to play in the defensive line in the NFL, but he's doing a good job. He's missed a few weeks, of course, because of the strike, but they still have high hopes for him.
Start of the opener against Buffalo. Very strong, but the coaches say he has much to learn. In fact, Scott Mercereau, one of the replacement players, did pass him by, and Mercereau will remain with the club when the regulars come in. What a catch by Riley, a one-handed catch. Did he have some stickum on that right hand? Damian Riley with the reception.
Oh, boy. He had some stickum on his pants.
Riley, as we mentioned earlier, is a native of the Bronx. Went to high school in Queens, spent all of 1986 with the Indianapolis Colts on injured reserve. First down at the 41. Scott. And some pushing and shoving. Gastineau made the tackle on Ronald Scott. There's Scott, number 33, rookie from Southern University. Lost a yard, 2nd and 11 at the 40.
Football players get out in the field before the game. They're mean already. Whenever they're tired and they've stretched into overtime, it seems they get a little bit meaner and a little bit tougher.
4.5 minutes gone by in overtime. And Mackey goes deep. Leland Douglas caught it out of bounds. It is incomplete. George Radikowski covering.
You see, this is the kind of play with teams work together a lot. He would have thrown this ball just a little bit sooner. Oh, and he couldn't quite get that right foot down.
It would have been a 20-yard advance. Instead, it's back to a 3rd and 11. The Dolphins at their 40. They were down 31-17 and able to come back, led by quarterback Kyle Mackey. Almost intercepted by Trig Sungi, first-year player from Tulane. Pass intended for Leland Douglas.
Sonky makes a fine play. Comes off the man he was covering, 35, to break up the pass and nearly get the interception.
And it is 4th down, punting situation. And Stacy Gore, despite that pulled groin that we reported earlier, will punt from his 25-yard line. Reggie Smith is back. And the Dolphins get a bounce. It lands inside the 10. It's a 54-yard punt by Gore.
We mentioned in the first quarter, Smith made a terrific reception of a punt. This time he didn't go after the football. It would have been a difficult catch, but had he gone after it and made the catch, they would have had the ball up around the 30-yard line. By allowing it to hit the AstroTurf and bounce, they have their backs at the wall on the 6-yard line.
The Jets from deep in their territory will start out from the 6. 5 minutes have gone by in overtime. The Jets and the Dolphins are tied at 31. So the last time the Dolphins were here, that was back in Game 3 of last season. They played overtime. The Jets winning it 51-45. A different quality ball game. That was a spectacular shootout. Eric Riley with the first down. The tight end Riley from Eastern Washington. Stopped by Tim Pigeon and Tate Randall. And that gets the Jets out of difficulty. The ball spotted at their 22.
Oh, that was a big play. They had that goal line right at their backs. It's always difficult to operate back there. Riley will spend a little time pretending like he's blocking here on the left side of your screen, and then he'll sneak out. You'll see him sneak out right now. What he did was allow the defense to drop back into coverage, and he catches the pass underneath him.
First down from the 22. Here's Hunter. Out to the 27. Picked up 5. It will be a second down and 5. Duke Shamel on the stop. And I would think there are a host of tired players out there. The offensive linemen who have gone most of the way. Pat Ryan has gone the distance. And for the most part, Joe Walton has gone with the 2 running backs, Blygen and Hunter. We saw Chirico briefly.
Blygen and Hunter have done an awful lot of work this afternoon.
And the same for the Dolphins, although they have rotated more in the running back position. Blygen follows Hunter, then cut inside. Close to the first down. And the Jets pick it up. A look at the later games that are underway in the second quarter. San Diego in front of the Raiders. Denver 9, Kansas City 7. Giants and Buffalo, no score. St. Louis in front of San Francisco. Somewhere along the way, many of you will be switched to those other AFC games. But we are in overtime with 8.5 remaining in this overtime session. Hunter. Beautiful move by Hunter on a flag thrown. Should also be pointed out, talking about the fatigue factor, penalty called on the Jets. Most of these players will have a long rest after this game, although they will be taking part in the practice sessions during the week.
63, offense, 10 yards, still first down.
Ted Banker, who has played well, but has been hit for his 3rd penalty of the day. He's called for the hold.
Well, that could be a tribute to Lambrecht, the nose tackle for the Miami Dolphins. He's a difficult man to block, and Banker has to try and handle him alone most of the time.
You may have noticed Ted did not agree with that holding call.
I don't know an offensive lineman that's ever agreed with a holding penalty.
Sets it back to a 1st and 20. The Jets from their 23. The Jets just adding to that record total of penalties. That was number 17. And Ryan able to complete to Holman. Short of the first down. Tate Randall on the coverage. Scott Holman with his 7th catch of the day.
Match up in the center of the ball. Ted Banker blocking Lambrecht, and he's doing a fine job this time.
69, Mike Lambrecht going up against Ted Banker, number 63. Banker has made it back from a shoulder operation, starting at center instead of the injured Joe Fields. 2nd and 11. The swing, Michael Harper, took a hit as he got across the 35-yard line. Picked up 3. Dennis Folks, the outside linebacker, on the stop. And a 3rd down play is just ahead. There's Folks in his 4th season out of West Virginia. In his first professional start against Detroit back in November of '85, he had 16 tackles and a sack. Dennis Folks. He's been around, as most of these players have. Played for the Vikings. Had a shot with Pittsburgh. 3rd and 6. The Jets from their 36. 7 minutes remaining in overtime. And a timeout call. So we'll be back here at Giant Stadium in just a moment. Well, this is the finale for replacement football, and apparently both the Jets and the Dolphins want it to continue for a spell. We're in overtime. Miami and the Jets tied at 31. The Dolphins coming from behind. They were down by 14. And led by quarterback Kyle Mackey, they have come from way back. Mackey has thrown for 3. He has run for 2. Jets with the ball. 3rd down 6 from their 36. Hooper on the interception. first-year player out of Memphis State. And a break for the Dolphins, who will take over at the Jet 37.
Well, it was a pass that could have been caught, but it would have been a good catch. Trell Hooper just makes a fine interception. But Ed, Miami's front four put some pressure on Ryan that time, and that could very well be the reason he was off target.
And as you see, turnover number 5 committed by the Jets. 7 minutes left in overtime. The Dolphins first down at the Jet 37. And Mackey completes inside the 30. Flag thrown. John Taliaferri with the catch. Sean Dykes made the tackle. And that is the 5th catch of the day by Taliaferri. But the call against Miami, and that will wipe it out.
Well, that's interesting.
Interference, number 89, offense, 10 yards, still first down.
The wide receiver, Leland Douglas, number 89, is called on the interference.
He wasn't even included in the play. He must have pushed off the cornerback. I didn't see it, but that's what it had to be, pushing off the cornerback to try to get open. A seldom seen, seldom heard of call.
And it now will be a 1st and 20 for the Dolphins. Back at the 47-yard line. That's where they threw the flag. Apparently Douglas with a little push within that crowd. So 1st and 20. And Mackey is picked off. Jim Haslett with the interception, and the Jets take it back. And look at Don Shula.
Shula's upset with Douglas because of the last play, the penalty that he got. Should have never happened, Don Shula said. Haslett comes up with one of the big plays of his career. Taliaferri, the receiver, intended receiver, was actually open, but the ball was just a little bit underthrown, and Haslett was able to get up in the air to make the play. Shula, of course, is still very upset.
Jim Haslett, who played 7 years for the Buffalo Bills, sat out all of last year with a broken leg. 2nd-round pick of Buffalo back in '79. 6.5 left in overtime. Jets first down from their 46. Ryan with the sideline pass incomplete. Intended for Scott Holman.
Well, that's one you'd think that your receiver might be able to handle, but I know Pat Ryan's feeling like he should have had the ball up a little bit higher. It was a very catchable pass. He should have caught it, but all quarterbacks like to throw the ball perfectly every time, and that one certainly was not a perfect pass.
Ryan is 27 for 45, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he has been intercepted twice. 2nd and 10. Eddie Hunter to midfield. So that will put it at a 3rd and 6. Demetrius Johnson on the stop of Hunter.
Dennis Blygen is just doing a terrific job out in that football field. He took on the linebacker that time and stood him right up, made an excellent block that enabled the 6-yard gain. Blygen, he's getting a lot of work. This young man's going to be able to sleep well tonight if he wins the game, that is.
Blygen and Hunter have both gone most of the way. And Ryan hauled down. Derek Wimberly had him with him, the grasp, and then Lambrecht pulled him down. So the Jet drive is stopped. First sack of the day for the Dolphins.
Jets line, they've been doing a terrific job. But number 62, Eric Koss, just couldn't handle Derek Wimberly that play. Got to give credit to the defensive player. They're tired out there. He's given it the 2nd and 3rd effort. Got back there and nailed the quarterback.
And Tom O'Connor will punt from his 29. Mike Catterbone is back. Catterbone awaiting the punt at his 20. Calls fair catch. And the Dolphins take over at their 26. Only a 35-yard punt. O'Connor during preseason outdueled by Dave Jennings. And getting another shot what with the strike taking place. 35-yard punt by O'Connor, and Miami now with 5:26 to go. In overtime, will start out from their 26. And yes, eventually, many of you will see the Chargers and the Raiders from Los Angeles, or the Broncos and the Chiefs from Kansas City. Mackey with the handoff to Scott. And a check of the scoreboard. Raiders and Chargers tied at 7. Denver leads Kansas City 12-7, both in the second quarter. Dolphin player is down. Now, should these two clubs end up in a tie, it will lead to all kinds of complications. Maybe the regulars will be mad at the replacements after this one is over. Marv Albert with Joe Namath from Giant Stadium in the New Jersey Meadowlands. And that is right guard Jim Gilmore, second-year player out of Ohio State, who was hurt on that last play. Jets in Miami tied at 31, 5:14 remaining. We're in overtime, and when we resume, it will be a 2nd and 7. The Dolphins from their 29-yard line.
Now, if this game were to end in a tie, Marv, I can't help but believe that Miami would be the happier of the two teams, because the next time they play the Jets, they would be playing them in their own ballpark. And the way this series between the Jets have been going over the years, the home team's been coming out on top.
And the Jets will play at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami on December the 7th. So that'll be late into the season. But a tie always creates, since the inception of sudden death overtime and regular season competition, ties create havoc. Yeah. When it comes down to playoff positions. Still 5:14 to go in overtime, as you see Jim Gilmore being helped off. Jim Gilmore played half a year with the Philadelphia Eagles last season. Spent part of this preseason with the LA Raiders. And he will head back to the locker room.
The way these two teams are playing right now, they can't help but believe the team that gets the next break is going to win this game. A good bounce of the football, a tipped pass. Of course, very often teams create their own breaks. But the outcome of this game could very well be decided on the next break we see.
Although we did see a couple of breaks, but neither club able to take advantage off the interceptions earlier this overtime. Week 3 last season here at Giant Stadium, it was Dan Marino and Ken O'Brien in a shootout. Jets winning it in overtime. And today, both the Jets and the Dolphins racking it up in the total yard department. 2nd down and 7 from the 29. Mackey completes. Cattermole has the first down. Radikowski on the stop. Mike Cattermole, first-year player from Franklin and Marshall, picked up 16.
That's the same pass play they completed to Damian Riley a couple of minutes back. Just went downfield and ran across the middle. He was wide open, getting away from Mark Hogan.
And the Dolphins first down just outside the 45. Scott not able to accelerate. Lions on the tackle. We're told that Jim Gilmore, the offensive lineman who had to be helped to the locker room just a moment ago, injured his right knee. And there will be x-rays.
You know, it seems strange to see a game going almost 5 quarters and not a dirty uniform on the field.
Just under 4 minutes to go in overtime. 2nd and 10. And the tight end, David Lewis, close to the first down. Trent Collins, the strong safety, making the stop. So Kyle Mackey looking to spark a conservative drive. 5th catch of the day for Lewis.
The Jets 46.
Very impressive numbers for Kyle Mackey. He is under 50%, but when you consider what he has done also as a runner, he has scored 2 and he has thrown for 3. 3rd and 1. Isom. 1st down and more. Inside the 40. Radikowski and Collins combine on the stop.
Kyle Mackey, one of the best things he's done all day was get that ball snapped with 1 second left on the 30-second clock. The blocking at the line of attack, or the point of attack, was good for the Dolphins, but this is good running by Isom. The key to that play, though, to reiterate a bit, was Mackey running up there and making sure he got the ball centered before the 30-second clock ran out.
2.5 left in overtime. 1st down from the 38. Intended for Taliaferri. Covered by the outside linebacker, Henry Walls.
I didn't see Taliaferri drop a pass in practice all day Friday. Their PR people, Eddie White and Jeff Bloom from Miami, told me he has excellent hands. Meantime, that's the 4th drop pass he's had this game.
Eddie White and Jeff Bloom, the crack publicist staff for the Miami Dolphins. Joe making certain he gets his Miami t-shirts next time around. 2nd and 10, picked off. Radikowski. Mackey in front of him. Radikowski stepped out. It has been a wild overtime. Radikowski goes 46 yards on the interception.
Mackey thinks he has the open receiver, but Radikowski cuts right in front of him to steal the ball for the big interception. His receiver looked like he was open, but Radikowski was just laying back in the grass waiting for it. Or should I say laying in the AstroTurf waiting to make his break.
And Mackey intercepted for the 5th time today. 2:13 left in overtime. Tied at 31. And the Jets with the shot. 1st down at the Miami 31. The lone deep back is Blygen. The dump off to Eric Riley. Gets inside the 25. Stopped by Pigeon and Nicholas.
The identical play the Jets used when they were backed up on their own 6-yard line earlier in the quarter. They had Riley block at the line of scrimmage for a while and then sneak out underneath the linebackers and just dropped it off to them. We talked about possibly a break making this game or having the winning team come up with a break. Well, they created their own breaks. Gastineau, number 99, is trying to cheer the crowd on over there on the sideline.
The 2-minute warning has been provided. 2 minutes remaining in the sudden death overtime. And this crowd is reacting. Only 18,249 have turned out. But we have been hearing them throughout the overtime.
I wonder what's going through Pat Ragusa's mind right now, huh? Or his stomach. A little bit of butterflies flying around in there. Nervous tension.
Earlier, the pressure was on the Miami placement kicker, Willie Beecher, and he came through. And Pat Ragusa, first-year player out of St. John's, could be the man going through his stretching with some help from the punter, Tom O'Connor. Ragusa originally signed as a free agent back in June, released during preseason. He'd been with the Connecticut Giants prior to his return to the Jets. He was in the Jet camp last year and was cut.
Normally, you'd keep the ball on the ground in this situation if you had your first field goal kicker, Pat Leahy. But with Ragusa, the Jets may go up top.
2nd and 3 at the Miami 24. And they do go up top. Scott Holman had it wrestled away by Robert Sowell. Let's see what the call is. It is a completed pass to Holman. The play was whistled dead. So the Jets now first down at the Miami 12.
Good pass protection once again from the Jet offensive line. It's a completion to Holman, and Sowell wrestles the ball away from him on the ground. Doesn't count while you're on the ground.
Clock running down, 1:25 remaining in overtime. I'd like to thank our producer, George Finkel, our director, Dick Klein, our spotters, Mike Alber, Frank Sirkowski, and our crack statistician, Elliot Kalb, all working overtime, but just loving to be here.
You know, I would not take the chance of putting the ball in the air now. I'd have to put the pressure on Ragusa to make this kick. He's so close now. We're talking just a little more than an extra point. Don't risk putting the ball in the air.
A chant of "Let's go Jets." First down from the 12. 1:20 remaining. Here's Blygen picking his way. Inside the 10. And the clock is running. Jets in Miami with 2 timeouts remaining. A second down and 6 from the 8. Play action. And Ryan with time, overthrow.
Yeah, he better overthrow it.
Michael Harper was well covered, so Ryan threw it away. Pat Ryan is now 29 for 48. 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And the clock stopped with 41 seconds left in overtime. It will be a 3rd and 6 from the 8.
Too many things can go wrong when you're putting the ball in the air. I mean, defensive lineman can tip the thing when it leaves the quarterback's hands, go up in the air. We've seen it happen today. I can't believe the Jets risked a pass the last play. I don't believe they'll risk a pass again.
Would you have gone for the field goal here on this 3rd down?
Well, yes.
All right, here's Ryan off the roll. Can't find anyone. Now throws. Touchdown. It's all over. Eddie Hunter with the score, and the Jets have won it in overtime with only 34 seconds remaining in sudden death.
Well, that's telling me what they think of Ragusa as a kicker. Big play by Pat Ryan. And a happy bunch of Jets.
In a game that could be a big one when the Dolphins and Jets go down the stretch in their playoff chase. The Jets go to 3-2, the Dolphins to 2-3 in this finale for replacement football. Pat Ryan to Eddie Hunter. For Pat Ryan, his first 300-yard game. And our Most Valuable Player Award, sponsored by Budweiser, goes to quarterback Pat Ryan. And Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVPs selected in today's game. 30 for 49, 301 yards, 4 touchdowns for Ryan, his first ever 300-yard game. So that wraps it in overtime.